Hello everyone, welcome back to the Deep Blue. I am over on this side. Welcome back everyone to the Deep Blue. Welcome back. Hello, I am Noira, the sea fox oneesan who serves live talks on the rocks. And I'm sorry for being a tad bit late. I just, finished catching up with a friend of mine. So I was rushing home. I stayed out a bit too late for that. Like I was having too many, one of those conversations where you're just kind of having a bit too much fun and you forget to look at the time. So that happened, and thus I was a little bit late by 5 minutes. I'm sorry about that, but I'm here now. Welcome back to the Deep Blue. If you're new here, hi, I'm Noira, the sea fox oneesan who serves live talks on the rocks, and that's what we're gonna be talking about today. Live talks, not on the rocks, but I do have tea with me right now. I have Moroccan mint tea, and as per usual, every Thursday we try to talk about, just our day-to-day lives and life observations, new things we've learned, sometimes even philosophical stuff or just interesting stuff of the day. That sort of vibe. Like I always say, it's the vibe of when you go to a bar, have a few drinks and start talking with a stranger, and then it accidentally becomes like you delve into deep topics and it starts getting very interesting and thoughtful and retrospective. And I love those sort of talks, and that's what I've always tried to replicate, at least here with the Deep Blue. I don't know to what extent it's successful, but I try. Anyway, welcome everyone, welcome. Now let me greet you guys, you tidelings here at the Deep Blue. Who is the first? The first is... Hold on, I'm checking a few things. Okay. The first is, I see that Tyrannus is the first, followed up by Kyle. And then the third is Egerson, fourth is Sven, and the fifth is Ridgeway. Congrats to our top 5, and congrats to Tyrannus for being the first. And of course, I also see that Sven, I already said Sven's name. Sven is here too, of course, with his cats. And Discount Chatter and Jarrison on YouTube side. And Arayashiki Shirayuki, and also Toad, of course, on YouTube. And I also see Kurt is here too. And who else do I see? I see that Ceaseless Researcher is here. Evan is here as well on YouTube side. And did I miss anyone? No, okay. I also see Tone Tick, Nuxa Redmud, thank you for the lurk. And as well as Nevis, Ghost of Mint, Nebula, and oh my god, it warms my heart to actually see some people who are like relative new, but like I see you guys constantly showing up. That's crazy. I'm glad you guys like it here at the Deep Blue, and I hope like the tidelings have been warm to you guys too. I hope so. But yeah, welcome back to the Deep Blue, guys. How are we all doing today? It's almost the end of the week, or like for you guys in the States, it is Thursday. It's almost the end of the week, but not really. Just starting on the second last day of the week. How's everything? How's everything? Good morning, Night City. Good morning, Deep Blue. Good morning, Mint. I'm so grateful for these kind of talks and moments when I can learn something new. Thank you, Noira and Talis. No, thank you, guys. What if I stop learning anything new and I run out of things to say? Will you guys be very worried about me? I try not to. I try my best not to. I mean, thankfully, thus far, I somehow still have something new to talk about. You know, every once in a while when my mind is kind of, I'm drawing blanks and my mind's kind of empty and it's been a heavy day, I just don't know what to talk about. Thankfully, I think today is not one of those days, but also maybe as the conversation goes along, we'll think of something. The thing is, like, I always wing these things. I don't really plan them. So if a topic comes up, a topic comes up, you know? Kurt, thank you for being a super tidling of 17 months. Thank you, Kurt. A super tidling too. Thank you. Best day of the week, Yap Day. Also, congrats on Blitzball victory. Oh my god, yes! We broke the Blitzball curse. 25 years without a victory. And for the first time in my life ever, I won a Blitzball match. And it's crazy. It's where it matters most too. During Walker's retirement with a Walker shot. It's perfect. Never would I have thought. But that comes to show that I have been thinking about it today. I was like, why did it take me like 25 fucking years after 4 replays to eventually like get one win out of like Final Fantasy X in Blitzball? That's crazy, isn't it? But I've also come to realize that I think on top of like the onboarding of that whole thing being kind of horrendous, at least I think so, I think it's just that I get easily appalled by being dumped a lot of information at once. And sometimes if I'm like, okay, if it's not worth it, like, oh, it's just a small side part of the game, but it requires me to learn something new on the spot and it's a whole fuck lot, I think I'm usually just like, nah, fuck that. That's like one of the reasons I feel like that with every Final Fantasy game, I almost always just skip whatever mini card games there are. Because it's not worth it. But that's also like my mentality in general, I think. I just don't have the patience, or for some reason, that's just how I cope. You know, oh, it's kind of hard to learn. Maybe I'm actually, in reality, I'm just worried about my general ability to learn something new. Hold on, it's very hot. It's very hot. Let me turn up the AC. It's so fucking hot, dude. Give me a second. Oh my god. Oh, it's so hot. I think it's because I'm drinking tea. Okay, sorry. What did I miss? Hara, thank you for 25 consecutive streams. Speaking of interesting stuff that I've learned, I've been learning quite a lot about how good the brain is trying to protect you by keeping you in a comfort zone. Oh yeah, that's a whole thing, isn't it? I think that's actually something we discuss a lot here at the Deep Blue, right? Just the general sense of how the brain is good at perpetuating stuff. Meaning if you keep thinking a certain way, then you will think a certain way more. That on top of how like procrastination works, you know, how the brain is, procrastination is a mood regulation thing, and your brain will always default to wanting the easier path, which is like, oh, if I can do that later, then I will do it later. And that's just how the brain is. So yes, the comfort zone thing makes sense in a survival sort of way. So if you're thinking about survival, and that means like, keeping your mind, you know, sane, you might think, oh, to keep my mind sane, I shall do this later because it looks like a painful lot, and so thus I'm going to procrastinate. So yeah, definitely, if you start thinking, at the end of the day, it's skill issue, isn't it? We know the brain works this way, but we also know that there are things to do that you can do about it, and that's also why the topic of skill issue comes upon a lot, right? Oh man, Sven, you're getting me yapping already. So early, so early. Getting ready to leave for training. Are you the one being trained, or are you like the one training people? Ceaseless. Watch the new Spider-Man. I'm watching on Saturday. It was pretty good despite not having watched the previous movies. I heard that it was filmed for Screen X, which is like, you know, that mode of cinema where you have like 3 monitors, like equivalent to when a streamer has 3 separate monitors. I don't know how that's like. I've never been, nor have I experienced that before, but I heard that it is specifically filmed with that in mind. But I am watching the regular version on Saturday. I am very thankful for the movies that have been released lately. I feel like the quality of movies have been quite interesting, and there's a quite a big variety that's going into mainstream cinema. So, like I said, we're currently with in our current day, age, and time, we are so spoiled for choices of entertainment, right? I'm melting 36 degrees. Oh yeah, I can relate to that, Hara. Today was also very fucking hot. It's been tough waking up lately. It's so hot in my area. Every morning my head and my body are heavy, but later throughout the day I feel a bit better. Fuck, dude, that's the worst. That's the worst. Does that mean that your goal should be to be able to get like some sort of air conditioning? Waking up hot is the worst. I think waking up cold is also bad, but hot is like, I think you can do more things about being cold than being hot, if that makes sense. I watched the VOD yesterday after work. It was so good, and I think you're gonna like it now. Yeah. I actually, I do like, I think Blitzball is interesting. I do want to give it another shot. So I might actually just be willing to give Blitzball another proper chance, because I think it can be pretty fun. Just watched both Spider-Man and The Odyssey. Funny to see Tom Holland, Zendaya, and John Bernthal twice in a row, right? It's crazy. Been slow, supposed to be an errands day, but Life Giver got down with fever. Oh no, hope they get better soon, Toad. Hope they get better. Oh man. Well, yeah, be sure to get them to hydrate, hey? I finally got mandated for overtime this weekend. Been dodging it for a while now, but it's finally caught up to me. Oh no. Hopefully you're getting paid properly for that, right? I think you did great in the end. The trophy is proof of that. I mean, I wish like Titus, at least I was able to get Titus to make another shot or defend a little bit better within the first half, but I think it's pretty crazy that I won a game of Blitzball regardless. Oh my god. Hi there, Sane. The human mind is a beautiful, bizarre, and fascinating thing, isn't it? This week has been pretty good. It's gonna be a hellish week next week with 3 tests and 1 presentation to do. Good luck with that, mate. Your stream seems to be glitching far more than usual today. Has something happened? Wait, is it? YouTube side? People on YouTube side, is my stream kind of glitching? I haven't changed anything at all. So if it's glitching, I'm not sure why. Is it my connection? I haven't changed anything. Oh my god, is it a Windows update? Fuck. I'm scared. The highest possibility of like something different happening on stream, most likely it's like the fault of a Windows update or something, but it might be something else. I don't know. How is stuff on YouTube side? YouTube people, are we good? Procrastination saying never put off until tomorrow what you can do today. Put it off until today after tomorrow and enjoy 2 free days. That's one way to look at it, but it does not convince my brain. For any Avatar The Last Airbender fans, a new movie with Aang grown up is really good. Wait, is it? Where are you watching it? Cinemas? Brain is like, I need to do this thing I don't like, but what if I don't instead and just be happier now? That's exactly how procrastination is. The good thing is that you can, because it's your brain thinking that way, that also means that you can make your brain not think that way. You can logic the fuck out of it. Like, you know how in Project Hail Mary and The Martian, you can science the fuck out of shit? You can also logic the fuck out of your brain, because it primes like a certain, mostly your amygdala, or like the logical part of your brain. Basically the emotional part of your brain that's hijacking all your decision making and your logic, that can be overridden by logicking with it. For example, if you don't feel like doing something, or you suddenly like make light of something, you can be like, okay, what are 5 things that are gonna happen if I don't do this? And Why is it good for me? And then what are 5 bad things that are gonna happen if I don't do this? 5 good things that are gonna happen if you don't do this. I mean, if you do this. 5 bad things that are gonna happen if you don't do this. At least 5. And then you can, that's one way to, as they call it, at least in the book I was reading, quote unquote, soothing the amygdala. It was surprisingly warm outside, part of where I live. Sometimes it traps warm and stuffy air in the local area. Well, look at the bright side. If it's like super warm everywhere, if Project Hail Mary happens to us, at least it'll happen a little bit slower, right? If astrophage suddenly there's a fucking Petrova line, we'll be able to survive a little bit longer. No. I don't like the fact that it is hot. I do not. I remember being young once. Oh, shush, Tonesick. You're making us feel old here. Catman, thank you for 7 consecutive streams. Oh my god, see? You guys are super sweet for like coming back to the Deep Blue once again. Thank you for returning back to the Deep Blue again and giving me a chance again. Hopefully you've enjoyed the vibes thus far. Sorry, I'm still catching up with chat, so it might take a bit for me to go through everything. Because I keep on yapping, that's my problem. Might be on YouTube side, though today it glitches every second for me on mobile. Huh. What's happening? Mobile thing is the one where it seems to lag every second. Oh, is that like a YouTube mobile thing in general? Hello, Omelette, how are you? Paramount streaming. Oh, we don't have that here, I think. Try restarting stream or like closing the app and opening it again, perhaps? Ha! The token IT advice. Try restarting it. Hello, Reaper and Nexaroth. Most realistic model I've seen so far. Oh, thank you. Welcome to the Deep Blue, Nexaroth. I hope you enjoy the vibes here. Sea Fox. Yes, I am a Sea Fox. Hold on, let me drink my tea. The app has auto-study to play ads again. Oh no. It sucks that memberships on YouTube don't actually let you watch ad-free. And unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about that. Wouldn't it be nice if memberships actually do that on YouTube? The same as like on Twitch? That's like part of the reasons why I don't think like it's fair for me to kind of put the same price for membership on YouTube as on Twitch. When you pay for membership on YouTube, you don't technically get ad-free viewing. Hello, endlessly sleeping. Oh, you're awake. So you're not endlessly sleeping. Treat it as 10-second stream delay. Yeah, I'm for one who can't stand ads. I feel like we're already blasted by ads every waking moment that we are awake as much as possible by third parties. So I try, if there is a good deal to remove ads, then I do that. So I am on YouTube Premium. Plus, like I mentioned before, I'm the type of person who's like, okay, if I use a service a lot and I think it is great, or it provides me with a lot of utility, I think it's only fair that I also return it with some sort of financial support, because that'll keep stuff running, right? I mean, I know how businesses work, right? So it's like, okay, do you know, I mean, look, even YouTube is not making money despite everything. So of course, when YouTube Premium became a thing, I was pretty down to kind of just, okay, I use YouTube a lot, so I'm okay with paying YouTube Premium. You know what kind of tea I haven't drank in a while? Iced tea? What are you living in the ancient ages? Even ancient people had iced drinks. Like, you know the story about the Ice King? Not from Adventure Time, no. But the Ice King from what? Boston, who figured, oh, I think there's big business in making ice. And so I think he imported ice from, I can't remember where, and just started sending it all over the world. Like, I think he imported it to like Egypt and I don't know where else, but like he was importing ice all around the world. I think even like Indonesia. And I think there's even, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if that's the right building, but there's like a particular building that used to be used for storing that guy's ice. Like, it was a warehouse for ice back then. I was gonna visit it. It's revamped into like this cool looking cafe. But yeah, back then I believe it was like one of his warehouses. So, cool thing about the Ice King. YouTube ads are even worse because they have scams and malware. Yeah, I just hate ads. So if I have the means to, I try to make my life a little bit more ad-free. Find it asinine that anyone bothers with ads these days. They can't have that much of an impact to bother. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, when it comes to certain ads, for example, on Instagram, sometimes I find the ads on Instagram pretty great. Like, I end up finding new people to watch, or I end up finding products that are interesting to follow, or brands that are interesting to follow. Elsewhere, Twitter, I've never clicked a fucking Twitter ad ever. YouTube, neither. Never have I ever clicked a YouTube ad. I think the only ads that I have clicked are via Instagram. I wonder why. I'm not sure either. What about you guys? When it comes to, okay, where have you guys clicked ads before? What certain platform have you guys found like, okay, these ads, I'm actually interested in them? Warehouse for his eyes. Oh, I'm not that yandere, sis. Come on, I'm not out here with a bloody knife. Not yet, at least. I wonder how expensive ice was way back when, hey? Thank you for the hydrate, I'll drink some tea. Can you imagine having to import it from Boston on a ship? And I believe like when I was reading up the Wikipedia page, the guy had to kind of take into account like how much ice would melt along the way. And oftentimes the journey would prove to be more costly than the revenue that they get instead. So it would like end up with a loss. Interesting stuff. History is fun, guys. I'm having a wonderful time with my PC because ad blocker does the thing. Funnily enough, only YouTube. Huh. Okay, what ads have you guys clicked on? For me, I think mostly the ads I click on are like, if I see a nice dress, I would click that. If I see an interesting restaurant, I would click that. If I find interesting musicians, I would click that on Instagram. Yeah, I think it's mostly that. Or like, for example, if I like paddle and I see like a nice advertisement for like a paddle court or something, I might click that, depending on my current interests, I guess. The YouTube ads traumatized me. Once they spamming me with safety rubber ads whenever I'm watching some Battlefield. Oh, condoms? They have condom ads on YouTube? That's crazy. I think it's because I've had like YouTube Premium for a while, so I don't know what ads they have on YouTube nowadays. I don't think I have ever clicked ads except on accident. That's fair. Whenever I see an ad, I look at the walls out of spite. Fair, very fair. I think bring back the times of the historic times way back when, you know, the things that we want were more dictated by us and not by ads and like psychological manipulation. There was a time, can you believe it? There was a time back then when advertising wasn't a thing. The guy who made advertising a thing was also some guy who did stuff in psychology, crazy shit. I was like listening to it in a podcast. I think it was a controversial guy, I believe, who had things to say about the human ego, I believe. Let me see, what was that guy's name? Was not forced to watch stream, but completely out of my own. Oh my god, okay. I hope that's not a titling holding anything against you. You guys wouldn't threaten someone to watch my stream, right? Some YouTube ads are interesting, not gonna lie. Hate the ones where they put a fake X button to trick you. Oh, they do that? That's so scummy, dude. That's so scummy. Funnily enough, what happens on YouTube mobile is that screen lock turns off for the ads. So it clicks in my pockets. It happened many times. Oh, don't you also hate like those fake game ads? That's also like a painful thing to watch. Let me see, what was that guy's name? Psychologist created marketing ego and advertising. I think this guy, if I remembered, he theorized the fact that we have a human ego, and the more that you repeat certain words or expose people to certain things more often, like more frequently, they are more likely to, you can more likely manipulate them to do certain things. Freud? Is that it? Sigmund Freud. Yeah, that's the guy's name. How many of you guys know him? Sigmund Freud, Freud, is it Freud? Do I say it as Freud? Sigmund Freud defined the ego as the conscious rational mediator balancing primal desires and social rules. There's a ID, and the super ego. And then, let me see. Was it actually, yeah. So I remember him like taking part in the pioneering of advertising. I might be wrong. Hold on. I don't know if he pioneered it now, or like if someone else took his theory and applied it as advertising. Did Sigmund... Yeah, I told you it's kind of controversial. Freud create advertising. Okay, Sigmund Freud... I said Freud again, sorry. Sigmund Freud did not create advertising, but his psychological theories heavily inspired modern advertising and public relations. Edward Bernays, Freud's nephew, is known as the father of modern public relations. Bernays took Freud's ideas about the unconscious mind and irrational human drives and used them to shape consumer behavior. But I reckon, I don't know, it sounds so scummy, but I also feel like that guy, Edward Bernays, probably never would have thought that advertising would be as crazy as it is nowadays, right? Shush, you guys, okay? Sometimes I say things wrong, especially if it's like of something of would I say European? Yeah, something of European origins. I am very unfamiliar with how to say things, alright? I try, but like my attempts are usually, I'm worried my attempts might be offensive. Hi there, Shu. How are you today? Hold on, let me catch up with chat. Is it Trojan like what? The virus or like Odyssey tone tech? Those fake games ads are the worst because some of them look kind of fun. Yeah, it makes you think like why they just don't make that game versus like whatever game they have. Support our oneesan Noira. What is that? Is that supposed to be an ad endlessly? Dear God, Sigmund Freud has done irreversible damage to psychology. He was proven to fabricate cases to support his theses. Yeah, I've slightly listened in, well, the podcast that I heard his name from and like the stuff that he was talking about, because the podcast I think was talking about ego in general, the human ego, and like all the different theories and ideas of how the human ego has been illustrated. Yeah, even they were like, yeah, the guy's like kind of a dick or something along those lines, or he's very controversial, but he at least like had a decent idea about like the ego, and it's an interesting idea enough to kind of unpack something along those lines. I think the last time I heard about that was a while back. He was a pioneer of psychoanalysis, among other things. I guess his ideas were adapted to advertising. He's just famous for his mom-loving theories. Mom-loving theories? Hi there, Uwabaki! I'm good! How are you today, Uwabaki? Actually, the topic of game ads. I don't like how bland mobile games are becoming. That's always like the thing, right? As I feel like the more people find out ways to monetize stuff and get more money from stuff, the more they will do that instead of make something that's good. Does that make sense? Like oftentimes, because most of the time something that makes a lot of money is, sometimes it goes along the same way with like having a good product, but somewhere along the way getting too greedy goes against that. And I hate it when people and companies in general do that. Like, come on. I mean, how much more fucking money do you need, man? Like, focus on the product, make a good product, maybe think about the people and the users, and then if you do a good job, then, you know, the money will come along the way. I know you need to pay for your employees and everything, but like most of the times, that it's just pure greed. You've been learning Spanish, how's that going? Vamos! I'm tired. You have a friend who talks non-stop and doesn't let you get a word in. I met my friend like that today earlier. Oh no, that is very tiring, and you're just kind of forced to become a listener as if the guy's talking to a wall. Oh, that's yeah, that's not a good experience, you. Well, at least you're here now. I mean, I don't really let you guys get a word in. I let you guys chat, but that's it. But I'm not saying I'm better than that friend, but at least I'm an anime woman on the internet. That's something, right? Since you mentioned it earlier. Early? Yeah, Indo. Reaper, Indo. Hi there, Pickle. I'll give Freud the credit of getting psychology a boost, even if it's only to constantly prove him wrong. Maybe I should read more up on this. Maybe I should read up more on this guy, Freud. Mobile games nowadays are mostly for those sweaty competitive tryhards. Wait. It depends on like what games we're talking about. Because if we're talking about like Genshin, I think it's much less that. It's much less of that and more so like, I don't know. I don't really play mobile games. I think that's something that has been consistent throughout my years, is that I can never play a mobile game too much. The most I've played was like probably Ragnarok Online Mobile. But that was also because it was COVID period, you know? And it was practically also almost like a desktop game rather than a mobile game, because I played it mostly on my PC with an emulator. But mobile games have just... I just don't do mobile games in general, and I don't last when it comes to mobile games. Something about it... why don't I like mobile games? I don't know actually. I've never really thought about that, but no particular mobile games have stuck with me. Jerez, thank you for 15 consecutive streams. Thank you. The problem with products now is that they aren't built to last. They are built to break or be replaced often. Yeah, that's also a thing, isn't it? That's also a thing. And I get it. It's because, like, let's say you made refrigerators, right? How are you supposed to make money and pay your employees if your refrigerators never break, if you only buy it once? How are you supposed to make your cash flow work? So it only makes sense, maybe, perhaps. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense to kind of, at least, like, it has a lifetime. Like how products have an expiry date, even though some products don't particularly expire. You know what I mean? But... okay, let's talk about this. What do you guys reckon is a better way? Let's say you're a fridge company, right? You need to pay your employees. Let's say you've grown to like a company of 500 people, and if people don't keep buying fridges from you, you're gonna go bankrupt and you can't pay your employees, and the other option is to lay them off. What do you do? Because you happen to make fridges that just don't break for like 50 years. Stella the alien deer, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the deep blue. Believe me, it's much more pleasant listening to you. I thank you. Sorry, I'm skipping through chat a tad bit just so I can catch up with it. Most mobile games are a grind fest now instead of something you play during your free time. Yeah, because they're free to play, right? I think things are a grind fest because they're free to play. Like, I think games that you have to pay aren't like that. And yeah, maybe that's why I don't like it, because of the grind first. And it's because whatever nature of that mobile games have adopted now, it's because of a free-to-play model. And that's why I don't play mobile games. Shout out to the recent event that ended. That was a literal rip-off from Children of the Sun. I wouldn't know. I don't play Genshin. Back in the 60s, fridges were expensive but lasted generations. Yeah, I've heard of that. Most mobile games have a lack of attention to detail and continuity in the direction most players want. However, even if the devs want to make a fun game, the shareholders who funded the development and the game will constantly pressure the devs to generate more profit for themselves. Profit or pay off stuff. I mean, we can't assume. I think it's... Sorry, my phone's like... Wait, who the hell is texting me? Oh my god. My friend just texting me being like, Noira, do you want to come out and party with us? We're at a bar right now. I'm like, what the fuck? Hold on. Oh, girl, it's like 10 p.m. let me reply. Jeez. No. I can't tell her I'm streaming. Sorry, let me read chat. Good to see you too, Stella. Most businesses like that are diversified for this exact reason. Yeah, but if you think about it, wouldn't you think that technically it's easier to just make the product have a shorter lifetime rather than diversifying? Because that's a whole other thing to unpack, right? We make the fridges have machine guns on. Oh my god, my phone won't stop. I'm gonna silence it. Have machine guns on them and make them into combat robots. That's crazy. And what? Put AI in it so it becomes Terminator all over? Skynet? Sheesh. My mom's really nice double-door Samsung fridge broke within 5 years. I expected better. Oh no, that sucks. What the fuck? 5 years? That is a very short time. Aura, thank you for the 5 consecutive streams. Really, our stakeholders put on the front page for mobile games majority of the time. Stakeholders meaning the users or like the investors, because technically everyone, like the user, the programmers, and everyone, they're technically stakeholders. That is a good question. Maybe offer some maintenance options as well, because some products will always be faulty, but if the product overall is sturdy and lasts, it will sell. Yeah, but also it's like a cash up front sort of thing, right? If it's sturdy and it lasts for like 50 years, then how are you gonna get money out of it? Like, have add-ons, but add-ons can only do so much. I opened my business in partnership with a huge IT company. People rent e-bikes from me and I take a percentage from couriers. It's my first time doing something like that, and I work 6 a.m. to 1, but it's nice for now. People rent e-bikes. Do you take a percentage from couriers? Couriers, it's my friend. Good luck with that, dude. Business partnership. Good luck with that. I mean, I think the easiest way to navigate work, partnerships, and like entrepreneurship in general is to fuck around and find out. And hopefully when you fuck up, it's not permanent. And that is honestly the easiest way to navigate through it, because you can listen to all the business advice, but if you can't make sense of all the dots through personal experiences, it can only do so much, right? I mean, it's just everything in life, I guess, not just business. I say it's less the grind itself and more the kind of grind, but that's mostly the rhythm game in me speaking. Good morning, old man windbreaker. Early stream? No, I'm not gonna go party at 10 p.m. I'm old. And it's a fucking Thursday. The Samsung repairman admitted to me that the fridges weren't built to last for the... Yo, my TV repairman also said something similar. At least it's not a call. If it's a call, I'm not gonna pick up, man. I'm streaming. I'll be like, yo, can you just text me instead? This is the outcome we are specifically trying to avoid, Noira. That happened to light bulbs, by the way. Wait. What's this outcome you're talking about? Because I think I was reading through chat and I lost the context. For fridge business, I would still make them have a very long service life, but continuously improve the products with new variants or diversifying into different appliances. Yeah, and I hope that sells, and I hope that's enough to pay for a company and their R&D. Because look, I'm someone who's very, I think, I wouldn't say grounded, but I'm pretty realistic with stuff. Which is why sometimes, like, when you say stuff like, oh yeah, this is built to break, like, a part of me can empathize with that, because if you're a business owner, right, and you just make a product that lasts for forever and you just sell it once, then where else is your cash flow going to come from? You know, when the easier option is to make it break faster and then people can buy from you again. It's, you know, as scummy as it sounds, I see the perspective though, but also as a consumer, I would like my products to last. If you have a shorter product lifespan, it will eventually get overlooked by other more reliable products. Yeah, but what if everyone is doing the same thing? Like, let's say, let's say that technically fridges can be made to last for 50 years, right? I think there was like a trend of TikTok stuff or something I saw a while back where people were talking about how fridges from their grandma's fridge still works very well or something. So what if someone started making their fridges last less long, and then everyone started doing it, so that to the point that it just becomes a standardized thing for the fridges that used to last like 50 years. Everyone else's fridges now last like 10 years, and and because they get more money from that, they have better R&D and they're able to innovate more, to the point that some people actually decide that, hey, I want this fridge even though it lasts a shorter lifespan, and thus you become obsolete within the market competition. Right? Okay, hold on, let me look at my friend's text. Okay, give me a second. Oh, and now she's asking me to party next week. Hold on. I haven't told her I haven't been drinking. Okay, yeah, okay. At least she's not forcing me to come out. Damn, that's crazy. The outcome of planned obsolescence for appliances and products. Light bulbs. What is this creature on my screen? I'm a sea fox. Welcome to the deep blue. Light bulbs were the start of planned obsolescence, and they made a cartel where everyone made their light bulbs worse to sell more. Oh shit! Wait, really? That was a thing? The price margins have got to be large to survive with such a good product. Talking about durability, it reminds me of the Tesla's Cybertruck demonstration. What about it? I don't know anything about Teslas. That situation, cheaper and more efficient, which can be easily repaired and maintained, will be purchased until competition reduces and solidifies. Yeah, because like sometimes, right? I'm not gonna lie, sometimes when I buy products, I'm like, okay, if I can buy something that lasts for like 20 years, but like this thing that I know probably has half its lifespan, but like costs much less upfront, and like the cost of the longer lifespan one is like thrice the cost of this cheaper one with a shorter lifespan, then I still think that maybe the cheaper one is worth it because I can fix it 3 times. Or like I can get a new one 3 times versus a longer lasting one. Does that make sense? I think that is a very natural consumer way of thinking, I believe. Yeah. Party with a friend stream next week. I'm not an IRL streamer. I'm a VTuber, guys. Why do you want to see me party? Japanese appliances still tend to last pretty long. Probably one reason why they're not earning as much as their competitors. Yeah, I mean, like, there's also like the question of greed, right? Versus, you know, a lot of people say, oh yeah, companies do this for greed and everything like that. But also at the same time, sometimes you look at the company's size and the number of employees they have, and you're like, yeah, they need a lot of money to pay those employees. So of course they got to think of new ways of monetizing, right? Is it really greed, or is it like trying to survive and trying to at least make a decent profit out of it, so that, because of course everyone wants better standards of living, right? Because if you get better profits, it means that shareholders can get better money, the owner can get better money, maybe upgrade their standard of living. They can also maybe provide their employees with more benefits, assuming in an ideal world that's how it works. So you know, let's just assume for a second that, hey, maybe there's a company out there who's trying to make more money, but it's not particularly out of pure greed, and it's rather, I want to upgrade the economical standards and lifestyle of me, of mine, my shareholders, and my employees, and to do that I need to get more money. Because I feel like there might be some companies out there, or maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just an optimistic bitch. But honestly, paying employees is not fun, dude. It is expensive and it stresses you out. Figuring out how to make enough money to constantly pay them every month. Now, I know the Tesla Cybertruck. I don't know what particular situation you're talking about, the Reaper. I can't go on forever without constantly extracting new resources. You can only bleed Earth dry for so long. They are already starting talks about lifting the ban on Antarctica. Oh, nah, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. They're doing that without the fucking Petrova line happening? That's wild. Many people, a few months of using. Set deployed. Everything is built to break. But it mostly depends on the user, I think. And then it is not on people. You can see it. Everyone can see it. Oh, you mean the e-bikes? Well, e-bikes are... I don't know much about... Oh, e-bikes are a whole thing. Do you want to know a funny story about e-bikes? So, like, for one of my classes in college, right? There was, like, this class where they were like, okay, please make a pitch, a business pitch, basically, for like a business that you would like to do, and it's gonna get graded by these people, right? These actual entrepreneurs. And I did, and I made one about e-bikes, and I got graded really badly. Because they're like, how the fuck are you supposed to make money from renting out e-bikes when the market isn't even that big, or and shit like that. Basically, I got really bad grades for it. But anyway, yeah, I don't know much about your situation, because obviously I don't know what your business model is like. I don't know what the e-bikes you're dealing with is like, but yeah, so I don't know if I can say much about it. You kind of hate everyone that has a cheapskate mind like that, but you can't really blame them though, Reaper, right? Everyone comes from different economical situations, and sometimes people just have different priorities in life. For example, if they made that decision so they can pay for their child's school, can you really blame them? Or if they make that decision because their parents have always done that and they haven't been exposed to the right experiences to think of, okay, maybe it's better to buy something that's built to last, you can't really blame them. It's just... I think it's a natural thing, and I used to also think that I hate cheapskates, but I think it was just it was a mean way to think about things, considering that everyone's like very different and everyone has different life priorities, right? For example, I was having a talk with my friends, right, who are gamers as well, and I had a few friends of mine who thought that who sought out for games that had a lot of playtime hours in them. Meanwhile, for me, I appreciated games that respect my time. Like games where you feel like you play for 1 hour and you made decent progress, and you don't have to spend like... Hollow Knight is the biggest example. I'm not saying a Hollow Knight is a bad game. I think it's a great game, but it's also a game that I can't play constantly because it just requires a bit too much time with my current lifestyle and my current life priorities. But I love it, but it's just too much. Meanwhile, my other friend, who I think doesn't have... I mean, he loves games which he can just kind of sink hours and hours into. He loves Hollow Knight, and I understand. And another friend of mine made the observation, it's interesting how you two like the game, but also have different priorities and thus may play it more or not, or, you know, see different values in the game. For example, I find more value in Clair Obscur because I can finish it up in what 20 hours, 30 hours or something, versus like Hollow Knight, even though it's a great game and I love its mechanics, but it just takes way too fucking long to finish. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. I'm yapping. Sorry, let me go through chat. Mobile phone industry, you have a handful of reliable companies. And a few other with lower spec for less budget, but also the insane difficulty that you rarely see newer mobile phone companies coming into the industry because Apple, Samsung, and Google just outright cut their prices so low that newer startups just can't survive. Like economies of scale, you mean? Sure, you can put super cheap phones, but then you are giving up on other features that the other companies will capitalize on. Oh yeah, that's an economies of scale thing, right? How you get a competitive advantage because you have economies of scale. You grow enough and make enough quantities to the point that you can cut a lot of prices and make everything much cheaper. As an employee at a factory, we don't get shit should our business gets better. Just push for more productivity as our wages stagnate. Yeah, that's shit. That's always like my hope, right? I hope that some people, entrepreneurs, get reminded, or like business CEOs, executives, they one day get reminded of humanity, you know? I hope that one day happens to people more often, you know, like maybe some Greek god calls upon them, Zeus fucking shoots a lightning to their porch and be like, pay your employees, you know. And maybe they'll they'll get a reminder to be kinder to their employees and remember that they're also humans sharing the same color of blood and you have the same genetical makeup and shit like that, you know. And if you want a better standard of living, so do your employees. That's well, in a perfect world that'd be possible, but that's not how it is now, is it? Gecko Meko Matt Chan, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Deep Blue. Thing is, maximizing shareholder value comes at the expense of everything else. That's why most companies go to shit after going public. That is shareholder value when you talk about going public, yes. But also, of course, like when it comes with the dilution of like ownership as well. Like if you, for example, if you're a founder with your co-founder, let's say you have like 2 other co-founders, so you're like a team of 3 founders, and then you also share the same vision, but then you realize you need funding, and thus you go and seek out other people out there to kind of fund your company or your idea. You do, but also of course you need to give them like benefits because they're lending you money, right? And somewhere along the way, maybe they happen to have more share in your company, and then your ideas get diluted, your vision gets diluted, and then even more if you grow into an IPO or a publicly traded company, right? Because now you want your stocks to perform well, you want numbers to be green, and that is what your ego is attached to. If you're the CEO of a big company listed on the listed IPO on the stock market, you don't want to see your shares tank. So, of course, there will be more pressures for you to do certain things towards monetary expansion and better profits, and basically like make the charts go up. So it's not pure greed most of the time. I think it's also just pressures, a lot of pressures here and there, and a dilution of ideals here and there as well. And maybe we can also consider maybe the leaders are getting tired of having to fight for their vision every fucking time and they relent. There's also that. So there's a lot of, I think when we talk about like these big companies and their corporate greed, I feel like it can be more complex than that. But of course, it's easier to vilify it, and I don't know, questioning it sounds like I'm supporting it, but I'm not. I'm just observing it and saying it as is, right? I don't think it's particularly right. That's why I'm like, okay, if you want to start something new, your own project or your own company, you need to ask yourself why you want to do that. Do you want to do it to get money, or do you want to do it to like project a certain or make certain ideas become reality and protect a certain vision? Because if you do, that means like you should always have more ownership over your own company. Because I think that's something that entrepreneurs or like business owners often forget. They forget to ask themselves why they wanted to make that product or start that company in the first place. And then they make a series of decisions that compromise that. Why do I sound like a fucking business coach, dude? I'm not. I just like observing stuff. Sorry. Let me read chat. Your model's facial design looks pretty. Why, thank you. Thank you. Why e-bikes? Oh, because Frequency is talking about e-bikes. So I was just reading it. If the market is not big, you create the market. Yeah, but in creating the market, that's also another thing, right? Nowadays, there was this argument that nowadays people don't make things that people need anymore. People try to convince founders and companies try to instead convince people that they need things. So it's not that you're solving problems anymore. If anything, you're convincing people that you have problems. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I think that's definitely a valid observation. I haven't touched a bike in months. I've never ridden an e-bike, but bikes are cool, but I've never ridden an e-bike. It's a Congress. So I can't say much about it. But I'm sorry you went through that. Shit, that's the worst, man. That's the worst. Hold on, let me catch up with chat. Sorry, I might miss a few. Oh my god, there's so much chat I missed out on. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna scroll way down. Hi, Jinsei Oshiro. Hello, Professor. I'm here for my business class. No, you are not. You're here for an anime woman who's rather old. That's what you're here for. Don't forget the offerings at the shrine, okay? It's not really forgetting. It's just that they have no other way. It's a closed system. Is Noira to return the redeems? No, you get the redeems any other day, just not today, Yukazen. Welcome back, Night Shadow Blade. Everyone has a price for their morals. Most people just don't know theirs until it comes up. You know, it's surprising how many of my friends who are entrepreneurs, like when the question of why are you doing this in the first place, like when they ask, or like the topic of discussion comes up in our conversations where it's like, yeah, I don't know if I should do this or not. And maybe I'd be like, yeah, but why did you do it in the first place? And they're like, I don't know, I'm not sure. And I'm like, that's crazy. I mean, I think so, at least from within my circle of friends who are entrepreneurs, I feel like they just haven't had the chance, or have been avoiding the chance, to kind of ask themselves why they're doing the thing that they're doing right now in the first place, to the point that they make a series of quote-unquote questionable decisions that might work against the actual motive or what they actually want out of what it is they're doing. Oh my god, that just sounds like a midlife crisis though. That's not just business. That's literally life, isn't it? Don't you reckon? Have a good one, Slayer. Thanks for dropping by. I mean, sometimes we go through life and we don't get like a chance to pause or stop and ask us what we're doing or why are we doing this. Or maybe we don't have the chance to, and somewhere along the way we make a series of decisions that work against what we actually want because we never figured that out. And then, yeah, burnouts happen, midlife crises happen, all that shit. So there are much parallels to take between, I guess, whatever the fuck we're talking about and our day-to-day life. We need cult robes redeem. Why would we need cult robes redeem, Jason, if we're not a cult? And no, you do not need that R redeem, do you? Do you? That's why days of solitude and contemplation are good to take every once in a while. Yeah, but I agree. I reckon like wisdom comes from like being aware first. So definitely I think it's important, and I I guess at least I can say for myself that it's been important. I don't know, other people might be different, but like I've seen a few of my friends who just live life and they're okay without like ever questioning anything that they do. They seem fine, or at least that's how it seems to me. Like they don't have midlife crises and stuff like that. They're fine. So I think it depends on the kind of person you are too. Some people need it more than others. Some people are able to lead life without it as much. I'm an entrepreneur and I have ideas and the general knowledge how to accomplish goals. However, when I've spoken to people about it, they say I'm crazy or in space. I mean, that depends. I can't say anything about that now, can I? If I don't know what the context is. We're not a cult, Jason. We're not a cult. Problem is, can't get people to fund me. Then shouldn't that mean that you should either, I don't know, break it down into smaller chunks or pitch it in a different way? It's a matter of packaging then, right? If you truly think your idea is good, then it's a matter of packaging. And packaging means either you make it prettier, make it smaller, or you market it or pitch it in a different way. People are so on the fence about it. Well, then you just need to keep trying. I mean, I don't know if there's any other option if you truly believe your idea. But then again, I'm not a business coach, so I don't know. What can I say? Would you trust an immortal lady on the internet? Would you trust a sea fox on the internet about business tips? Entrepreneurship tips? Hi there, Merquax. It's okay, you can admit we're a cult already, you know. No, never, no. Damn these allegations. Damned be these allegations. Why do you want it to be a cult so much? Damn you, titlings. No, we're not a cult. Oh my god, no. If you guys are new here and you hear things about a cult, it is utterly not true. It's just a thing that the titlings here at the Deep Blue say for I don't know what the fuck for. I don't know why they want a cult. I don't know why they want to tell their friends they're in a cult. I don't know. They have issues. Not a cult, just a commune of cultists. No, you can't have a commune of cultists if there's no cult. So obviously we're not a cult. That's not how it works. We don't want it. It just is. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. But yeah, I feel like the whole thing about like corporate greed and like, you know, how the internet has kind of made people just so easy to talk shit and say whatever the fuck. I hope people don't forget to look at things more critically, if that makes sense, right? I think is that something that's slowly fading away? I hope not. I think the idea of critical thinking in general has been something that people complain about since like forever. I reckon even if you go into like the ancient times, I'm pretty sure like there are a lot of people complaining about that. But I hope so, like even in like the modern times, even when you have AI and everything, people don't forget to question stuff, you know, and don't forget to, okay, I believe this, but why? Does it make sense to me? You don't have to question everything, I guess, but like maybe if you have strong opinions about it, you might want to pause and question it. Because there is sometimes you can get swept up by, I feel like, what is popular and the social consensus that sometimes you don't even know why you were there in the first place. You get swept up by the tides of social pressures. It's very easy to do so, especially in the age of social media and all. Like sometimes you'll realize that your opinion about a certain thing isn't particularly yours, but it's someone else's on social media. Have you guys ever felt that? I think that's something that I have definitely experienced. And I think it was, especially during the phases when I used to be like doom scrolling a lot, until I got questioned by someone where it's like, oh yeah, but why do you think that way though? Like you can't just say like it's because people have been saying that, you know, like what's, like if you want to hate on something, that shouldn't you at least like understand yourself why you feel that way? Trumpet, thank you for the gifted. Thank you for bringing in one new titling into the Deep Blue. One of us indeed. Not a cult. We could use subliminal messaging. No, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Make a shirt for merchandising. I have shirts. I have merchandise. But we're still not a cult. Critical thinking is not being taught so much anymore. It's kind of sad. I don't think it's ever been taught. That's the thing, right? Like how? Okay. Let's entertain this thought. How would you think? Let's say if you had a school, how would you teach people critical thinking? How much of not a cult are we? 100% not a cult, obviously. How they, John Brisket? Wow, Ni Howdy is wild. Ni Howdy, fine shit. I'm good. How are you, Brisket? Brisket is good. Beef brisket is nice, especially. Yeah, how would you teach critical thinking? I don't think it's an easy thing to teach, right? Have them make decisions. My parents did that for myself and my sister. I think the way that I learned critical thinking was by fucking around and finding out. And I just happened to meet the right people to kind of push me towards the way of critical thinking a little bit more. Source analysis, or looking at why text says what it says. Yeah, but how do you teach that in like an educational structure? Plato had it. Pick a topic and have people discuss and figure things out. Oh yeah, like a debate. That is good. I read up, was it something I read or something? It was something I watched on YouTube, I think. This guy had this argument about how entertainment nowadays is so placid and it doesn't engage the mind. There was like some guy way back when who argued that entertainment should be something that engages the mind. Such as back then people used to have debates as entertainment, or like theater, or poems and everything like that. It engaged the mind in one way or another, either via logical analysis or like creative thinking. It was along those ways. It was something like that. And like the entertainment nowadays is more passive, and it shouldn't be that way. That was the argument this guy made. I can't remember his name. And I don't know, I think that sounds a little bit too purist. But I see where the guy is coming from. The education system was originally made to churn out an obedient populace. Yeah, it was made for like, the KPIs and metrics of factory productivity of the industrial age. Smart enough for manufacturing tasks, not smart enough to questioning the overall environment. Meanwhile, nowadays, where a huge chunk of our economy is a knowledge economy, right? If you think about like the tech industry, for example, very much a knowledge economy. Meanwhile, a lot of our current educational ways make you good factory workers even more than anything. Critical thinking is like a muscle. I believe that too. Make them solve puzzles and riddles until they figure it out. But isn't that already what school does, kinda? Also figuring out how people figure things out. Isn't that also not like what school does? They teach you history. If I had a school, I'd let them go to the slums and figure out why people do bad things there. That's an interesting way to do it. But also their parents would probably complain. It was like, why are you endangering our kids? But it can be trained too much. I'm not a teacher, but ask them to make decisions and then follow up with them explaining their thought process and how they arrived at their... It's like an AI. Ask them to make decisions, follow up with them explaining their thought process and how they arrived at that point of view. It's like you're questioning AI. Maybe I don't know more, but that is valid. That is valid. For example, I believe for certain positions in the tech industry, I know like the way that they interview you is that they give you like a very open-ended question. For example, if you have like a 3-floor office building and you needed to provide a water dispenser for each floor, at each floor you don't know how many and like there are employees on each floor, how would you figure out how many gallons of water is how many gallons of... That's a gallon, right? How do you figure out how many times you need to change the water per week? Let's say that. Like how many times you have to replace the water dispenser water or fill it up per week. Like very open-ended questions where the final answer doesn't really matter as much, but what matters is like how you come upon the answer and like your logic and your thought process. That's what the interviewer wants to check into. Feel like this calls for some statistical examples, such as speaking of debates and entertainment, we used to have a TV show that was just like that. It was called The Parliament and it was really funny. Wow. Watson-Glaser test is an interesting tool that tries to teach or test for the ability to overcome bias, sometimes taught or practiced in law schools. Watson-Glaser, let's check that out. Glaser. Math proofs feel like a good way to practice it. Actually, yeah, people who are in maths or mathematics, I think are generally really good with logic. So you can, when you take mathematics for like uni, you can, or get a mathematics degree, often you can get a job in a lot of different industries that require critical thinking and analysis. The Watson-Glaser critical thinking appraisal is a pre-employment psychometric test. 40 multiple choice questions. It talks about judging the truth level of an inference derived from a raw statement of facts, recognition of assumptions, deduction, interpretation, evaluation. Oh, interesting. Okay, evaluation of arguments, strict objectivity, time management, and target percentile. I see. Okay, so recognition of assumptions is very interesting because that's something I definitely learned and it has changed my life. Because when you realize that most of the times you're arguing because there's a discrepancy between what you and other people are assuming is a fact versus what is actually an assumption. There are so many arguments and debates, arguments and, you know, spats that can be resolved just by defining what the fuck is an assumption and what the fuck is not. I've applied that to my workplace too, and since then it's been much easier to navigate through work conversations with that. Straight up, you'd be like, when someone comes to you with a question or with something, you're like, okay, what's the objective of what it is you're asking? And you check it and be like, okay, is this an assumption or is this, have you tested it? Is this a fact? Is this a personal experience? What is it? Like usually just by like asking those two questions, you can get a lot of information and it can really change how you're supposed to reply. Reminds me of the quote from Herbert Simon. In an information-rich world, the wealth of information means a scarcity of quality and thus a decline in attention spans as more information consumes it. Oh, that's very true now, isn't it? Very true. I mean, we are buffeted by information and information is going at a faster fucking rate than ever. And nowadays we know like things people say from fucking the opposite side of the world versus like back then maybe you heard like your neighbor say shit about something and that's all you know. So it's no longer about like physical proximity when it comes to the information you know about, but like you can hear it from like all over the world and it's a crazy amount of information if you think about it. A lot of my education through school was Talmudic study and analysis. We could spend weeks figuring out the implications of a minor difference in ways to interpret why a certain religious law was the way it is. Maybe analysis is the key. Yeah, maybe analysis is the key. Like the subject of analysis can be a myriad of options, but analysis is perhaps the key. And maybe you need direction towards someone teaching like, okay, what's a good analysis and what are the standards of analyses? Like, what is a good analysis? What is like a bad analysis? And like, why do certain ways of analyzing matter more than others? Which is like something that who wrote up the Watson-Glaser critical thinking appraisal is, it kind of goes into that. I would counter thought-provoking entertainment with thrill-seeking entertainment. Scary movies are a bit easier to sell than wingsuit. I agree. I mean, as much as we think that thought-provoking or engaging entertainment is great, we can't argue the fact that sometimes we just want to turn our brain off and just not think about anything, you know? And you just want to binge Netflix or something, or play like a stupid idle game. So definitely, I mean, we're creatures of comfort, right? If there's a way for our brain to take it easier, our brain will of course enjoy that a little bit more, versus like something that requires a little bit more effort or discomfort. Isn't that just so they cannot hire you for other reasons without it being bad hiring practices? Which one? I don't think so. Because I think at least I have seen it. I have seen it and also been there with the whole testing with the open-ended thing. And it's truly to see the thought process of people. Yeah, it was. Because for certain jobs, what matters the most is, I think, your thought process and how you analyze situations. Because it can require like a lot of, you know, it's just, there are just some jobs that are like that. And thus like that sort of interviewing style or question is required. If you read Freakonomics, there's a chapter about a college student who was assigned to learn drug dealing society. The dealer held him at gunpoint but took him in. I read Freakonomics. I don't remember much about it though. It's one of those books where I thought it was pretty cool, but I remember nothing about it. That sucks when you have shitty ass memory. You read books, but then you forget about it. Yeah, I should probably reread it. Math degree is you are really fucking smart certification. Source, my wife has one. Like some statistical examples that media is too placid now, and exactly how you account for recency and how you tell that a bigger percentage of people watch less placid stuff back then. Right. Yeah, we can check that out. Oh, I don't have a clip command. Let's talk about it. Maybe I should set one up. I'll do that when I remember it. Remind me on Discord, okay? The reason there are so many puzzle toys for kids is to force them to develop their problem-solving skills, which once ingrained at a young age, they develop a habit of it, which they usually stick to during teenage and adult life. However, I would like to also argue that even if you give kids like these sort of toys, like if you give like 10 kids those sort of toys, I think it's only as like a percentage of kids that will come out figuring out that critical thinking is important, you know? Because I do think that definitely like genetically, some kids are maybe more predisposed towards critical thinking than others. I think that's how it is. So of course, like those with that sort of predisposition will come out with critical thinking. The others, maybe not so much. Thus, maybe, I don't know, when people aren't, I don't know. I would like to believe that through certain ways people can learn to become better. And this is, wait, I'm going off of a lot of assumptions here. This is assuming that being more of a critical thinker is better, right? I mean, it's good, but as someone mentioned, yeah, Tabina Koman mentioned, too much critical thinking is also not healthy. That is also very true. For example, if you start questioning everything, you would go insane. I think that's why some very smart people kind of, you know, go a little bit insane. You get what I mean? That's why crazy geniuses are a thing. You might not have shitty memory, you just know too much and are overcapacity. Maybe, but I still think it's shitty memory. It's also important to remember that thinking costs calories. Having low energy is not the time to spend learning quantum physics. That is very true as well. Yeah. Calories. Thinking does cost calorie, and especially if, so when it comes from like a survival point of view, physiological survival point of view, that makes sense why sometimes you resort to the comfort zone, right? Your brain resorts to the comfort zone because like being comfy means less thinking, meaning less calories. So it also makes sense why if you're more stationary, like meaning you don't move around as much or you're not as active, sometimes you'll enjoy the comfort zone a little bit more and your brain will tend to resort to activities that require you to think less. And that can go a lot of ways if you think about it. Because your brain, if you don't move much, your brain's going to think, okay, if we're lying down if we've been lying down for a few days and we've been quite stationary, maybe we're in like energy preservation sort of mode. Maybe we're sick or something, I don't know, but maybe we're in energy preservation sort of mode. And I have felt that personally. Have you guys felt it? Like when you're just going through a phase of life for a few days where you don't like, when you've just been fucking lazy and you're stuck in a rut, and all you want to do is what we call nowadays, what kids nowadays call it, quote unquote bed rot. You feel it, man. You feel it in your body. Like you feel like something is fucking wrong and you feel shit. And all you want to do is stay in your comfort zone. When maybe, perhaps, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because your body just stayed stationary, that's why your body is thinking it's feeling shit. I'm not saying it's always that, but there's also definitely that possibility, especially if you look up into the physiology of the, neuropsychology and all of that, and neuroscience. It does say the same thing, where your body and mind is basically connected. If your body does certain things, it signals to the mind certain things. So if your body replicates like being sick, that your mind might think that you're kind of sick, and it will go do certain things that your brain does when it's sick. So there's definitely stuff like that. Sorry, I went on a totally different tangent. I'm so sorry about that. Hold on, let me reply to my friend's text. I feel bad. Saturday night. What am I doing next Saturday night? Oh no! Hold on. I'm having a clash of schedule. Oh my god. Man, I have been staving off drinking for a tad bit, and now my friend who I usually ask out to drink and never wants to suddenly asks me to drink. Like, what sort of sick joke is this? The parent is also responsible for encouraging them to figure out the end result. Critical thinking is unnatural to humans. Our brain is programmed to keep us alive in the wild, not to objectively analyze the world. According to what I have read up in terms of like neuroscience theories, yes. Yeah. Because I think the current more popular theories nowadays going around when it comes to like the human body and human behavior and neuroscience is that it's all attributed to how were we like back then when we were like cavemen and hunter-gatherers, I think that's like the most popular trope of new human behavior, full stop. And also like figuring out how certain things about like the human body works. Like, I think there's a lot of, I think if these are topics you subscribe to, you'll hear like these sort of things being brought up about like, certain diets or like living certain ways, certain lifestyles, or also like certain brain behaviors. It's accredited to our ancient ways of living, which is mostly hunter-gatherers and all of that. So yes, that thought of our brain is programmed to keep us alive in the wild, that is also one of them, which makes sense. Whether it's utterly true or not, I don't know if that's a thing that is proven or not. Because how do you prove something that's an evolutionary past? To me, maybe I just haven't read enough things, but like to me it sounds like it's something, because given like how we probably were in the past and the set of things that are happening now, it makes sense to kind of put two and two together, sort of thing. But it's not something that you can solidly prove, if that makes sense. E-trumpet! Arigato! Thank you for your offering towards the shrine. I'm gonna give you a blessing, E-trumpet. My blessing to you is that I hope you don't ever tire of questioning things and exploring new topics and learning new things. That is my blessing to you, E-trumpet. Thank you for your offering. So hold up, I missed out on a lot of chat. Can't wait for the cyberpunk world where we can upgrade ourselves. I wonder how far off that is. I will upgrade my lungs so that I can smoke ciggies. If you start questioning everything, that kind of turns you into insufferable. It kind of turns you into an insufferable prick too. That too. I study philosophy, and I think there are two ways about it. We must think about everything, and thinking is shit. That's fair. Bed rot, yeah. Bed rot. That's a term people use nowadays, right? Bed rotting. That's a newly popular term that never existed back then, I think. The friend is playing Uno reverse card, I know, right? You're doing so well with sobriety. I am. I drank beer like last week though, but it was like 1 bottle of beer. So it's not like I'm going hella cold turkey. It's just that I'm choosing not to drink. Yeah. What, are you a caveman, Mark? Tell me, how big were the woolly mammoths back then? And did dinosaurs actually have feathers, Merc? And were the T-Rexes... Did T-Rexes actually have such tiny arms? Because I believe I read up a theory where T-Rexes don't actually have tiny arms. It was like something else, like wings or something? I might be wrong. My memory's shite. No, but look, I made this hot thing called fire, good for heat and cooking food. Do you know that I have been reading up on Greek mythology? Anyway, let me read chat first. We went here from hunter-gatherer in about 10,000 years. In terms of evolution, it is a very short time. I agree. But how do you solidly prove that when it's something in the past? Like, it's not as if we have like an ancient human to fully foolproof our statement, right? It's more of something that's an assumption that makes the most sense. Term used when you're in denial of your depression. But, I mean, of course, okay, the thing about bed rotting is that I agree that sometimes it can be something of a deeper issue, such as depression or the sorts. But also, what if you're bed rotting because you've been staying stationary and you've been staying in your comfort zone for so long that you just don't want to move, which is valid. Right? What if it's something that's brought upon because you've just been in bed for a little bit too much, or have been stationary for a little too much, and then you just get swept up in it, because that is technically something that can happen, and both are valid. Because I've experienced that too. I've experienced that sometimes I thought that I was sick or was like feeling shitty or just didn't want to go through the day and thought like I was going through like an emotionally shitty ass day, when really it's just because I have been doom scrolling in my bed too much or something along those lines. And once I got the ball rolling and started like, exercising or like going out and hanging out with friends a little bit more, it slowly kind of got better. So, did you know that in Greek... Okay, wait. Let me ask you guys this, actually, rather than me explaining it. How many of you guys know how humans were created in Greek mythology? You know ancient human life because we have bones and artifacts, so we can deduce how they live and what their diet was. Yeah, but that's as far as it goes, right? We can't really say that, oh yeah, humans back then didn't like critical thinking, for example. Like, how the fuck do you even do that? How do you deduce that based off of historical remains? Plus, we've lost a lot of historical remains. The historical stuff and archaeological stuff that we see nowadays are only the things that are still preserved and have been exposed to, modern humans. But, like, who's to know what else is out there, right? There's so much of history we don't know. That's a perspective I've had recently, because I was watching a YouTube video as well about, what's his name? Graham Hancock, where he said something along the lines where there's so much to be questioned about history and so much we don't know about history, literally just because we haven't discovered it. It's as curious as the future because there's so much we don't know. And I'm like, that's interesting. I've never really thought about that. Ancient aliens guy? Yes, yes. As crazy as his thoughts and ideas are, I think there is certain validity in his perspectives. Like I mentioned before, like how there's a lot we don't know about history, so there's like a lot of chances of certain things not being exactly as we know it, just because we haven't discovered it. Maybe it's still like way under the soil and we just haven't dug it up, or like it was lost with the time through wear and tear, just destroyed, all those sort of things. I know, but I want to know if everyone else knows. Prometheus, brought to life by goddess Athena and then later repopulated from stones after a great flood. Huh. That's not... Well, yeah, somewhat, I guess. Wait, let me read it, because I have been reading up on Greek mythology. But the thing is, I've been doing it via a summarized version via AI, so like, I don't really know the specifics. But, so I don't... Tell me how correct this is. You guys are gonna be my fact checkers from what I read from AI. Let me read it. Okay, that's a Trojan War. So I've been learning about it in chapters. It's fun stuff. It's like my current... Because I've been bored by social media lately and doom scrolling, so I made like an AI... Like I made one of my AI chats to just teach me about Greek mythology in a way that they kind of structure it as book chapters. So it's been like really fun. Wait. Okay. Okay. Tell me how correct this is. All right, guys, you ready? You ready for some lore drop? The most... Prometheus and Epimetheus, the clay and the stolen fire. The most famous creation myth centers on two Titan brothers who sided with Zeus during the Titanomachy. Prometheus, forethought, and Epimetheus, afterthought. Zeus tasked the brothers with populating the earth with living creatures, but Epimetheus fucked up. Lacking foresight, because Epimetheus is afterthought, right? Thus not having foresight. Epimetheus handed out all the best survival gifts to animals: fur for warmth, claws for hunting, wings for flight, and thick hides for armor. By the time he reached humans, he had run out of gifts. Humanity was left naked, weak, and defenseless. And I thought that was so fucking hilarious. It's like, oh shit, I forgot. I forgot I was supposed to make this one last thing called humans, and fuck, I ran out of stuff. Because I didn't plan well. Shit. Maybe Epimetheus had ADHD, who knows. So then Prometheus was like, bro, I got you, right? Taking pity on us humans, Prometheus netted river, mud, and water, molding humans in the upright physical posture of the gods. And because he felt bad for the humans, to give humans a fighting chance, Prometheus snuck into Hephaestus's celestial forge, lit a fennel stalk with divine flame, and stole fire for humankind. So fire, apparently in Greek mythology, used to be like a god thing, like a divine thing. But then Prometheus went out of his way to kind of steal fire for us. So we were like, we got the shittiest luck of the draw, but at least like a god like stole fire for us. Okay, so that's all. How correct is that? Is that correct? Titanomachy. Yes, I'm sorry if like some of the pronunciation shit. There's a podcast called No Dumb Questions where they have an occasional bit with the time traveling duo of Barnacles and Testicles. Wow. He gave us fire, but he got punished real bad for it. Yeah, like stuck on a cliffside with a crow, like forever eating his liver or something, right? So there are no fire-spewing dragons in Greek mythology. They had hydras, dude. And then Prometheus got wrecked by Zeus for being nice to humans. Okay, right. Okay, second part, right? So, second part, the creation of Pandora, the first woman. Woo! To punish humanity for accepting the stolen fire, Zeus ordered Hephaestus to mold the first mortal human out of clay. Mortal woman out of clay. Every Olympian deity gave her a gift. Aphrodite gave her beauty. Hermes gave her a crafty tongue. And Athena dressed her in silver robes. Her name was Pandora, aka All Gifted. Wow. Okay, wait. No, yeah. So women got all the gifts. The men, not really, apparently, to Greek mythology, except fire. So men just got fire. Zeus presented Pandora to Epimetheus as a bride, along with a sealed storage jar, pithos, later mistranslated in the Renaissance as a box. Despite Prometheus warning his brother never to accept gifts from Zeus, Epimetheus welcomed her. Driven by divine curiosity, Pandora opened the jar, releasing disease, toil, old age, and suffering into the human world. She slammed the lid shut just in time, trapping only one thing at the bottom: Elpis, aka Hope. Isn't that fucking dark? Anyway, I thought like this was so fucking cool. It's like, whoa, that is a whole story. That sounds as dark as Attack on Titans. You know, first of all, like, humans got the shittiest luck of the draw, and then when, you know, Pandora opened the box, it gave humans all the bad shit, and the one thing that was supposed to help humans navigate through all that was left out of that too. It got shut and it got left in the box. Anyway, yeah, super fun. It's been such a great read. It feels like I'm reading like a fiction story, and it's cool. Prometheus got wrecked by Zeus for being nice to humans. Yeah, the gods are mean, man. Not gonna lie, Greek mythology is so weird and all over the place. Oh, it's so fun though. It's so fun. Hey, Trumpet! Super chat, arigato. Thank you for your offering towards the shrine. Thank you. If you want to read about Greek mythology, I would recommend The Marriage of Cadmus and Harmony by Roberto Colasso. What is that? Is it like a poem, like Homer's Odyssey, or what is it? Oh, super chat, arigato. Wait, let me give you a blessing. My blessing to you, ear trumpet, is that... Oh my god, have you watched the Odyssey? I mean, it's not like 100% accurate, but it's a great watch, and I think it's an interesting perspective. My blessing to you is that you get to watch the Odyssey, and if you haven't planned towards that, that means this is a sign. If you're someone who enjoys Greek mythology, then I hope you get to watch the Odyssey soon. That's my blessing to you, and maybe IMAX if possible. Yeah, that's my blessing to you, ear trumpet. One of the things he shows is how mythology was cleaned up later. Same legend would be cleaned up later. Wait, I did read about like how Greek mythology has also changed between like throughout the times. For example, I believe the older when you go into the older parts of the Bronze Ages, Poseidon wasn't a Hades wasn't a thing, and Zeus wasn't head honcho. Poseidon was the top boss. But then later on, like towards the age of like, you know, Troy and the Trojan horse and everything, then Zeus was suddenly like the all-father. And then Poseidon is just, he's like a sea boy. And then suddenly Hades was a thing. So it's also interesting to see like how throughout the times, Greek mythology has supposedly changed. So confusing when playing games from different decades. Luckily, most mythological accounts read out like a story because they were written as such. Yeah. And there was also an interesting perspective I was reading through with this whole thing that I was doing. It's so Odyssey, right? And Iliad, the thing that Homer made as a poet and everything. It's like a 15,000 word poem. And apparently it was all kind of actually based off of actual events, or if not like particular things that people should remember for survival. So they were saying, at least like what AI has said is that people back then navigated the seas literally by pure instinct, oral directions, like someone telling them where to go, or like by remembering things from like poems and shit. So poems are a way for people to remember and sailors to remember in a mnemonical way. Is that the right word I'm using? Mnemonical way with certain keywords, so that, oh, if you go through this area, you have the Charybdis. Is that you have the fucking whirlpool, and you have Scylla who's gonna fuck you up. So it was a way for people to remember how to navigate through certain parts of lifestyles that can help you remember better. Yeah. So like you can associate maybe this narrow pathway with a certain evil hydra or something, that sort of thing. So it's interesting. I think the idea of how Greek mythology, a good part of Greek mythology or poems from it were created, is from living life and finding ways to better navigate it by remembering certain things better through poems and tellings is a very interesting thing. Mnemonics, yeah, original memes. Well, wait, no way. Memes were actually taken from the word mnemonic. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Anyway, yeah, I've been gushing about like Greek mythology for a while, but I really have been very interested in Greek mythology. My next stop once I finish this is probably like Norse mythology, but I don't know why. I think in general I've always been more interested in Greek mythology than Norse mythology. Trumpet once again, super chata, arigato. Thank you for your offering towards the shrine. I've attached a link reviewing Marriage of Cadmus and Harmony to the tweet about this free talk. Thank you, Trumpet. Thank you. Oh man, I don't even know what to bless you with anymore. I shall bless you with the boon of Athena, if that is within my power. Well, if it is or if it is not, you shall know on the way. Yeah. And maybe if something happens that sounds like an Athena thing, you'll credit it to me. It's like, oh, Noira blessed me with the boon of Athena. That's why it happened. Astrolabe was a wonderful device they made to navigate the stars. It's awesome how creative people are in any age. Right? Humans are cool. It's crazy what you can do with the power of imagination. Right? Power of imagination. You can't do Aphrodite because she's from the ocean. I mean, if we're talking about the ocean, I might as well say from Poseidon, right? From Poseidon. I hope that when you next go to the beach, you won't like get carried away by the tides or something. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, Intrepid. I don't know why. Every time I give like a blessing that's meant to sound good, it sounds like a threat. I don't know why I do that or how I do that. Lovely voice is blessing enough. Why, thank you. Very kind of you. After me accidentally saying something that almost sounds like a threat. It's not a threat though. It's not a threat. Wouldn't it be a boon from Poseidon? Yeah. It would be a boon from Poseidon. I like to get threatened by Noira. Hey. Wow. Your inner thoughts are coming out, JC. With a Western upbringing, it seems weird to me how the modern religions spend most of their writing on morality tales, but ancient religions had more stories about the gods and interpersonal drama. Yeah! I wonder... as I was reading through Greek mythology and like stuff about it, there were like certain arguments about like how certain parts of the mythology have been tampered with for the agenda of political motives. So there are proofs of that. So I think it's not much, as much as I don't want to talk about politics and everything like that, I'm just saying that there is that happened in the past. And okay, that's I'm not going to take it any further. I think you guys can make your own conclusions from that statement. I don't want to accidentally end up dissing any religion or anything, okay? That's not why I'm an anime. That's not why I'm an anime girl on the internet. Hi there, Magic Attacks. How are you? No worries, Magic Attacks. Hope your day gets lighter and better soon, eh? Inner voice of tidings. Oh, you sick. You sick, boy. Step on me is crazy. Yeah, I've been having so much fun with Greek mythology. Another fun Greek mythology game I would suggest is Stray Gods, which is like a musical visual novel take on Greek mythology, but it's very modernized. I still want to watch Epic, the musical. That's definitely on my list as well. What we can agree on is that most religions believe that humans were created from earth or clay as their origin. And yeah, I think it was pretty interesting as well to see how, oh, the woman sinned. You know, it was a woman who fucked up. Like in this case, Pandora, that was a thing in Greek mythology, and that's also a thing in the Bible, right? Oh, Eve took the fucking red apple. Straight gods before Hades. I mean, everyone plays Hades, so I don't need to recommend Hades. If anything, you know what I would recommend? What was my first exposure to Greek mythology? I would say God of War. That was the first thing that got me very curious about Greek mythology, with Kratos being like in the midst of the Titanomachia. Yeah. And did you also know that Kratos is actually a proper name for a Greek god? Like there's, I think, one of the children of the Titans was named Kratos or something, if I remember correctly. Like one of the... Fuck! See? I read a lot of stuff. I'm intrigued by a lot of stuff, but I forget. God of War is a classic? Yeah, yeah. Especially that Aphrodite scene. That's crazy. He was a Titan. Yeah, oh you're right. Thank you. He was a Titan. My first introduction to mythology was Zeus and Poseidon city builders. What is that? Wait, Zeus and Poseidon city builders? Wait, there's a city building game with Zeus and Poseidon? What is that, like Civilization or like Magic and... Ooh, what is it? Magic and... Wait, there's a game that's kind of like Civilization, but it's not. It's called Magic and something. What is it called? I remember particularly a guy in armor and a blue flag and a white horse. What is that game I'm thinking of? Noira knows that cultured Aphrodite scene. Of course I do. I'm very cultured. At least I'd like to think so. I have been alive for a while after all. Bullfinch's mythology was my first exposure to Greek mythology. What's Bullfinch's mythology? Is that like... What is that? Hi there, Chaos Gremlin. Age of Mythology. Is it Age of Mythology? Age of Mythology. Was it just Age of Empires? Sorry, it has nothing to do with mythology. Yeah, it was Age of Empires. No, wait, no, it was... Was it? Oh, yeah, no, it was. Never mind. Wait, no. Heroes of Might and Magic. Wait, no, what is that? What's Heroes of Might and Magic? Heroes of Might and... Oh, no, it was Heroes of Might and Magic. Yeah, it was Heroes of Might and Magic, I think. Yeah, no, it was definitely that. Suddenly, like, the name came to my mind and I'm like, what is this random name that I'm remembering? Shit. Have a good one, Red Samurai. It's like, it's old game like City Builder. Oh, that sounds super fun. I grew up... They are, wait, Might and Magic, it's either Might and Magic or... Yeah, I think it's Might and Magic. Type in Zeus plus Poseidon. Zeus plus Poseidon. I'll type it on Google. Ooh! Oh, that is old! Why are there so many thirst trap images of Zeus and Poseidon? Is that older than Heroes of Might and Magic? It looks like a Flash game, almost. Old PC games, city building but ancient Greek mythology. That sounds so fun. I grew up watching the old Hercules and used to get told stories about Greek lore. Like, the Disney one? Oh my god, Meg is so hot. I think a while back I was playing a game with my friends and there was like this question where it's called herd mentality. Have you guys heard of the game? So you're given like this question, you're asked the question as a group of friends, as a group of people, and then you're supposed to think of an answer that everyone else or the majority of other people are going to say. So I said Meg from Hercules, and that was of course the majority. She is like, I think the question was, who is the biggest baddie in Disney movies or something? Like, who's the biggest baddie or something? Like, who's the hottest, basically? And everyone was like, Meg from Hercules, no question about it. Pretty model. Thank you, Chaos Gremlin. Age of Mythology is from Age of Empires stuff. Zeus and Poseidon have nothing to do with Age of Empires. Age of Empire, but mythology. Might and Magic is pure fantasy. Yeah, like I said, it has nothing to do with mythology, but somehow, because you were talking about like civilization building, I thought of that randomly. Bullfinch's mythology is a collection of tales from myth and legend rewritten for a general readership by the American Latinist and banker Thomas Bullfinch, published after his death in 1867. Interesting. Myth and legend. How? Okay, I'll give that a thought. Maybe it's something I'll read. I do definitely want to read more about Greek mythology. I'm not ready to move on from it yet. As much as I say that I want to read about Norse mythology next, it feels like I still have this lingering curiosity that has not been sated. I don't know why. Maybe I just need to play more Hades. I think I played it in 2004 as a kid. Okay, wait. Zeus plus Poseidon. How old? Poseidon game. When was it released? Zeus plus Poseidon was released in October 16, 2000. Heroes of Might and Magic was released in... It depends on which one though. When released. Heroes of Might and Magic released its first title in 1995. Second installment was 1996. When was the third? A 3. How many installments are there? I think I only know it until the third. The third was released in March 3, 1999. No. It says that Heroes of Might and Magic is earlier. Because Zeus was in 2004. Poseidon plus Zeus. Yeah, right? Oh no, 2000. Sorry. 2000. Hi, Tyler. The problem with academia surrounding Norse mythology is the fact that the primary source of Norse mythology, the Prose Edda, was written 200 years after Scandinavia was Christianized. Not only that, the Prose Edda was commissioned to create a cultural link between the Danes and Icelanders in efforts to have the Iceland unify with Norway, which is why the Prose Edda has some very Christian-like elements, such as Baldur being revived as the one radiant god at the end of Ragnarok. Christ analogy, possibly as a way of painting Christ as a true god, and probably as to avoid heresy accusations from the church. Interesting. It is very interesting to see how, I want to say in hindsight, like how in history myths and tales and poems are motivated by political agenda and whatnot. Very interesting, because let's admit it, humans are, nowadays we talk about corporate greed. Back then you talked about wars and shit. And dominating other nations. Yeah. But I think when it comes to mythology, like Norse mythology or Greek mythology, at least for me, I want to read it for entertainment value. Unfortunately, I understand that it may come from like certain political motives, and that's an interesting thing to look into too. Because you can, if you look into it further, you get to see how like certain things, like Keith mentioned, certain parts of the stories or influenced or affected by certain motives. And I think that's always an interesting thought process to unpack. But I mostly love reading it as a form of entertainment. Your best exposure to Greek mythology is just to read it. Video games and movies are interpretations and negotiations with the exact material to read, so like relying on God of War or Hollywood, no. Yeah, fair. But also it's cool to see other interpretations of it, right? But of course I would agree, like, I mean, if not for those interpretations, I would never have this newfound interest for Greek mythology in the first place. So I'm at least thankful for that. And even like, so I don't know if you guys were here yesterday, but like I was telling chat about like this AI that I made. So like I made an AI prompt where basically it's like, okay, AI, I want to learn about a Greek mythology. You are now a very good storyteller and you are a Greek mythology expert. Okay, I want to learn it in a way where it's structured in chapters, and basically I want you to summarize it, and I will ask you further questions if I want like to get into certain aspects of it more. And however, I also want you to draw tangents and add factoids and trivias related to medias that I have consumed, such as the Troy movie, the Odyssey. I also played God of War, Hades, Stray Gods. I want you to draw parallels to them because it's been an interesting read for me. It be intriguing for me. And also I want you to tell me about the historical facts of it, what like the historical accuracies and historical information or trivia about it, and also like the archaeological proofs thus far. So I made an AI do that, and I was like, structure a plan for me in the form of chapters and tell me how it looks like. And yeah, it did that, and it came up with like, how many chapters was it? Let me see. It's been really good. Like I said, it's been my current form of entertainment when I'm idle. Yeah. Oh, there we are. It has a total of... Let me scroll up. It's cool how much AI can help you with learning stuff. So I'm thinking of just learning of stuff through this way. It might not be particularly like accurate or give the whole picture, but I think it's a good way to start learning about a new topic. So with every time it gives me like a chapter, it divides it into 3 parts, which is like the story. Oh wait, which is like the story, the narrative, and then it's the media mirror, and then it's the historical and historians part, which checks into like the historical facts and archaeological facts. There are a total of 6 chapters spanning from the cosmogony and titanomachy up to the twilight of the gods and the legacy of myth. And it also goes through like Trojan War, Fall of Ilium, and the Odyssey. I'll probably add more chapters to it as well. Sorry, wait, where did I leave off of chat? Most people didn't write shit down. Oh, that makes it tough, doesn't it? Despite work being mostly certainly inaccurate to actual Norse paganism, I prefer YouTube videos by human scholars. That's okay too. I mean, it's just my preferred method of currently learning about these things, which is like, I think for me is a gateway to checking out more medias. Audiobooks are better for me, and that's fair too. That's fair. I mean, yeah, whatever works for you, right? For me, this is like my current, at least for my current lifestyle or my current situation, it's what works. But I definitely want to check out more about it as well, from like mythology channels as well too. Because I think one of the things about Greek mythology was also that I didn't know where to start. And the sources in which I found where, you know, sometimes you look up videos on YouTube about Greek mythology, they're like fucking 1 hour long. So sometimes you're like, okay, but like, is this actually a good video about it? Or is it not? But you have to spend like some good amount of time before you can decide that. May I recommend a YouTube channel for you? Sure. Do you mind doing it on Discord though? Because links don't show up on Twitch. So yeah, do chuck that in. Thank you. But yeah, it is. I think this is also something I talked about yesterday. I mean, I think AI is definitely like an interesting avenue to explore when it comes to learning about new things in general. It's crazy how many ways and methods we have nowadays for learning and finding information. It's crazy. Which Discord channel? Media is fine, I guess, Keith. Just chuck over a video that you'd recommend where to start to. You need the long videos because its history is about connections, and that needs time to make. Yeah, I know, I understand. Are we at the AI stage of stream yet? Shit, we are. We are, Bars. What the fuck? We actually are. Yeah, it's crazy how spoiled we are for choices of entertainment and choices of learning, and yet can you truly argue that humans are much smarter compared to ancient times? It's interesting, isn't it? Can you say that humans are much wiser compared to like people of ancient times? Thanks for always starting my Thursdays off wonderfully. I gotta eat and get ready for work. Have a good one, Kurt. Thank you for dropping by, and I hope you have a good day, Kurt. I hope you have a good day. You have a wonderful time zone too, Kurt. Smarter probably. Wiser nah. Okay, smarter in what context? What do you reckon? Like IQ? Is that our measure of smarts nowadays? Definitely recommend checking those city builder games out, since I recall they were fully voiced and had decent amount of lore back then. Yeah, Zeus plus Poseidon. Were they hot in the game? Sorry, sometimes I play games depending on on the character's hotness. Zeus plus Poseidon game. Let me check it out again. It's an old game, I know, but like I can't help but wonder. You don't remember? Like baseline intelligence and ability to learn. What is baseline intelligence though? I disagree that we are smarter. I do believe we know more about the world in many aspects, but not smarter. But yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if there's a universally agreed upon definition of what it means to be smart. IQ is the closest thing to that, I think. Can you summon them? They look small. Oh, they're just like pixels. I hope to visit the Athens one day and check out all the historical structures. It was so cool. Oh, it's so cool. A tour of the Athens and other historical locations would be grand. So yeah, what do you think is the current modern measure of intelligence? Let me ask Google that. What is currently what the fuck is do you know what the first Google search recommendation was? I typed in what is currently the autofill was rarest sprite in Fortnite. What the fuck? The current widest accepted measure of intelligence. Yeah, it says IQ. Just more access to information and abstraction on ancient concepts. To put into perspective, your greatest Greek mathematicians would be blown away by long division. They would also be blown away by my calculator. But I guess whether you're smart or not also depends, like, your environment, right? Being smart, like knowing how to do long division and shit like that might look impressive in like current day and age, or like, you know, during ancient times, or if you were like in the fucking, was it Library of Alexandria or something? Yeah, that maybe it's fucking amazing. But if you were to be put next to Bear Grylls in a zombie apocalypse, is that really smart? Is that really being smart? Things like literacy rates and math or logic. Literacy rates. Yeah, literacy rates is definitely a measure of smarts. But did you know, like, I can't remember who I was talking to. Was it my hairstylist? I think it was. I don't know where I heard this from, but like someone said how, yeah, do you know, like, I had like this employee or something who couldn't read, but he scrolls TikTok all day. And I asked him, wait, how the fuck do you consume TikTok videos if you can't read? And he's like, oh yeah, like, you know, TikTok videos, I don't have to read, I just listen to it. Haha. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy, isn't it? Alright, so, went to Necropolis once on a Greek island. Hell of a climb. How bad of a climb was it? Calculator, you mean witchcraft? Oh wow. I would be burnt on a stake if I brought a calculator back in time, hey? Overly Sarcastic Production is a duo channel with a historian as one half, writer as the other half. They do content, history, mythology, architecture. Oh, okay, wait. I feel like I've heard of that channel name before. I should check it out more. Ancient Greeks had calculators. Yeah, but can abacuses do... Oh, no, wait. I think I have learned the arts of the abacus before. I was gonna say, can abacus do long divisions? Technically it can, but I can't. I've had a phase of life where I tried out the abacus before. Of course, obviously, I'm like, you know, I've lived for a long time, so obviously I have. So there are ways to do long divisions with the abacus, but not me. It's a hot day with a lot of stairs to climb the hill to the necropolis. Must have gone through 10 water bottles. That's wild. Thank goodness you didn't get like a heat stroke or anything, man. Give ancient Greeks algebra. Is algebra like relatively recent? Okay, wait, I'm gonna look up how has the standard of intelligence changed over time? The standard, this is an AI answer. I am gonna go through the direct source of it rather than reading it out. Okay, World Economic Forum. How has intelligence testing changed throughout history? This is a 2015 article. Oh, it is long. Okay, so... Oh man, this is just a big history lesson. I can't sum it up. But design a series of questions. The thing is, right, the idea of intelligence and the idea of intelligence is like a human-made idea, right? It's a human-defined thing. How can you agree on a definition that's not a fact? Does that make sense? That's something that's not an objective fact. It's more so something that a majority of the public has to collectively agree on to become true. It's not like it's a binary fact, like, oh yeah, nah, that guy's definitely smart, this guy's definitely not, that sort of thing, right? It's more like human defined, and thus it's very much sensitive to the tests of time and the current situations of human civilization. Is interested in history. Oh man, history lectures? Come on, I thought like the article would instead be explaining, oh yeah, this is what has these were the factors that have affected the changes between various ages and, you know, years of intelligence testing and everything. This is just giving me the facts of like, oh yeah, there was this intelligence test created in this year, there's also this one created in this year. I want to know the process of it, like how did they decide on it? How did their measures of intelligence become the widely accepted thing? The people that measure intelligence surely think they are smart. It's like how in mobile games you have, what is it? What's the thing you use? I don't play mobile games. So what is it that you have to measure power level? There's a word for it, not a word. It's like it's 2 words or something. What terms do you use to measure power level when it comes to mobile games? Usually it's pay to win. Hi there, dripping water. Power scaling? No. There's a currency of okay, if you have to be X amounts of power. Oh my god, am I making sense? Wait, I'm thinking Ragnarok has it. Level? No, not level. Ragnarok. Wait, Ragnarok X or something? Ah, fuck it. It does not matter. I can't be bothered looking it up. But you know how like you have to have like certain power levels in games to kind of show that, oh, you're a whale, or like, oh, you're very powerful. Basically, that's a means of currency that kind of you can base off of and show other people that you're just fucking powerful. I think that's what IQ and other measures of intelligence is too, right? It's a way to, I don't know, humans have this tendency to always want to make sense of things, and definitely one way to do that is to attach numbers to stuff, right? And logic to stuff. Even though sometimes it technically doesn't make sense, but having some modicum of sense is better than none, apparently. Maybe it should be how many neurons flare up per second or something. Mayhaps? With scientific validity, it's a constant state of improvement as we gain further understanding of the concept. Simple as we are always proving ourselves wrong, and here's what's right now. Yeah. Oh my god. My brain is not primed for these sort of discussions. I just had a big meal. I had a big ass dinner, and I talked with my friends for a long time, and we're getting into I guess it's somewhat semantics. Honestly, I think the smartest person is the one who asks the most questions and tries to learn and understand it. That's fair. Curiosity is definitely like key to being, no, would you say curiosity is a key to being more intelligent? Sometimes people can be curious but also not smart, if you get what I'm saying, right? Like I think I'm curious but I'm not smart. yeah, that's how to put it. Yeah, I don't think I'm smart. I think I look up a lot of things, but I can make sense of it. But it doesn't mean I'm good at utilizing it. It doesn't mean I'm good at utilizing the things that I learn. Is that the definition of being smart? Being able to utilize the things that you learn? This is how we work out those mind muscles. I know, but it's like 11:30 p.m. In ancient times, they would call the wisest person the smartest, since wisdom was considered the most knowledgeable. Right. Okay, then how about we entertain this thought? Then what do you reckon is the difference between wisdom and being smart? Being curious sure does help, but it ain't a surefire way of intelligence. Being able to make use of what you know is also part of that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, right? Because I'm hella curious, but I'm also curious about like the stupidest stuff, like how many fucking hamsters it takes to power a fucking Tesla and charge it to full 100% battery. You know, I'm curious about a lot of fucking random things. Maybe if I was curious about, oh, how do I cure cancer, maybe I'll be fucking smart. But because I'm curious about like the randomest things, not particularly. As for measuring intelligence, there are many parameters in which you could use to measure. Adding them together makes things complicated. There may be more parameters we don't know yet. Some are bad. Yeah, like IQ and all those other measures, right? Smart is knowing a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing tomato would be bad in a fruit salad. Good example. How would you word that then? Like, being wise is knowing the consequences of utilizing that information. Is that what being wise is? And being mindful of the consequences of utilizing the information that you know? Maybe smart is good at solving problems. Perhaps. Oh my god, we've had this discussion before, where it's like, would you consider AI as being smart? Because AI is... Yeah, I mean, would you consider AI as smart? Can AI solve problems? AI can answer questions and is given the tools to answer questions, but would you consider that solving problems? Wisdom is more about ethical knowledge. However, it lacks the mathematical and problem-solving skills needed in highly advanced fields. Ethical knowledge is interesting, yeah. However, it lacks the mathematical and problem-solving skills needed. Wouldn't you argue, though, that wisdom can help in problem-solving? Can't compare rocketry to biological engineering. Hi there, Lokana. Wisdom is experience turned into knowledge. Can someone have wisdom without having particular experience? AI is knowledgeable but not smart. AI can solve problems, but I wouldn't see it as intelligent. I don't even know. Now that I'm thinking about it, if AI like answers a question, I don't know if that's solving a problem. It's just answering a question, and I think there's a big difference between the two. Yeah. It just so happens to be that the problem is presented in the form of a question. Does that make sense? I think that's the difference between that. AI is... Oh wait, arguably wisdom in itself is a measurement of intelligence. Yeah, arguably. I think not everyone would agree with that, I guess. AI is a tool developed by programmed by a human. Programmed by a human. Yes, it is. Artificial means artificial created, and thus it is also limited by humans until you have pure AI intelligence where they start like making their own neural networks and start thinking for themselves and suddenly gain autonomy and oh my god, shit, it developed consciousness. Which is why its experience turned into knowledge. It doesn't necessarily need to be your own experience. Ah, interesting. Yeah, okay, fair. So would you also say that wisdom is also listening to a lot of other people's experiences? I call calculator smart. I don't know if calculator is smart. It is good at calculating, but personally, I wouldn't call it smart. I think it knows how to put 2 and 2 together. Is that smart? Putting together an answer based on prompts could be considered as solving a problem. Yes. But wouldn't you also argue that it's like, oh, it just so happens to be that the problem is presented in the form of a question, right? Because we're talking about AIs with language models. Until AI can maybe get, for example, hypothetical situation, you throw it into a dying company and AI can literally see what the fuck is going on without being provided any particular data and solve all the needed stuff that needs solving and identify the problems. I don't know if you can call it problem solving because it's like a very strict and narrow definition of problem solving, which is like, oh, it can only solve problems if it's in the form of questions. Meanwhile, not all problems are in the form of questions, which is why product managers exist and managers exist to turn things into questions, right? Wisdom is the effective application of intelligence. Interesting perspective as well. Intelligence is knowing, wisdom is application of knowledge, and doujinshis and H-mangas are culture. Clap of the water clock, flock of bird flies by. Wow, Merc. Wow, of course you had to put in doujins and hentai mangas. Get back to you going to a meeting. Good luck with your meeting. Wisdom, social skills, emotional regulation, straight knowledge, all viable measurements of perceived intelligence. In the end, intelligence is just a comparison between one and others. That's true. It's just a human means of trying to one-up each other. You can use wisdom, however, whether you call it smart isn't always true, since they will usually encounter issues they cannot explain because they have counted it before. Wisdom is usually developed after observing things over a long period of time and come to a conclusion based on the results they observed. However, that doesn't make them smart in our current era. Yes, wisdom and smarts, I don't think they go hand in hand in our current era or in our current our current civilization. Maybe like someone mentioned earlier, maybe back then if you're like talking about the ages of Plato and or like Aristotle, if you were wise, you were probably also smart. But would you hire a philosopher from the ancient times? If you were an ancient merchant, would you hire Plato to be your CEO? I don't know about that. Assuming that you hire people because you need some people to be smart for your company. Let's say your CEO needs to be smart. Would you hire Plato to be your CEO? That's still problem solving, even if the scope of the problems that it can solve is very narrow. Fair. Yeah, fair. You also can't solve the company's problem without knowing anything, and AI is not incapable of analyzing a situation. AI is only capable of analyzing situations via means of either image recognition, currently at least limited to that, or like language, right? What about the things that don't happen with, like, what about the things that don't happen with that? Like, sometimes you see problems that happen without, it's uncommunicated, and it's not something you can see. I'm trying to think of an example. What's something, wait, can you guys think of anything? A problem where it's not communicated and it's also something that you can't see. Huh. I am having a hard time. Problem that is not communicated and something you can't see. Like, gas leak? I mean, you can see a gas leak, right? No, well, to a certain extent. He doesn't understand music. Okay, or like, cultural norms, I think, is one of them, right? Or cultural discrepancies, perhaps, is something that you can't really see as much. Or is very much communicated. So, do you think that AI, if given image recognition inputs and processing capabilities via language, would they be able to recognize the fact that there's a cultural thing going on? Huh. I feel like I brought upon myself an interesting thought, which is the fact that sometimes we need people, managers and people. It's not particularly to solve problems, but it's more so to ask the right questions or turn things into questions, which is something that it makes sense. It's not something that AI right now can immediately do. AI can't like see something or like observe something and turn it into questions, or, you know, think of the right questions to ask. Maybe think of the right questions to ask, perhaps with the data that it has, but it doesn't have the means of observations, at least right now, that humans have. Maybe just not yet. If AI start going Detroit become human, that's a different story, right? Or art, yeah? Maybe something in the collective spirit or something, but AI cameras exist, so I think it's possible, at least in theory, from there. Yeah. Founding fathers would hate AI. It makes pictures of what you say. Hi there, Thousand Sunset. Since it is lacking sound recognition and the ability to create language models, so understand other languages quickly. Death pheromones? Why does that sound like a fucking cool ass metal band? What do you mean death pheromones? A chemical that indicates danger that you can't see, like spider sense, like spidey sense? Or like sense of, do you reckon, yeah, AI wouldn't understand like gut feelings, and yeah, AI wouldn't be able to understand like things that are led by gut feelings and stuff like that, or like instinct. Would AI be able to understand things that are driven by instinct, gut feelings, and all that, like death, looming dread? Or like, how would AI figure out, oh, whatever happened with Essie? You know, oh, like maybe she can see the future and shit like that. How would AI be able to interpret the creation of a religion or a cult? Hunter's sense, is that another different kind of sense? Sounds like something straight out of Solo Leveling. Artificial intelligence, more like artificial flavors. Oh my god, recently my friend brought over Skittles. It's like, what Skittles were they? They were like button Skittles, But they were like, no, it said that it had no artificial flavors. And it was spicy and sour and kind of sweet. It was so good. Do you guys know the Skittles I'm talking about? I don't even know what that's called, but like that's the first time ever I've had that, and I'm like, this is so good. This is so addictive. I've never really been one to really like candy or sweets, but those Skittles were so good. It would need something like an artificial soul or something for that kind of capability. How can we give AI an artificial soul if we can't even agree what a soul is as humans? AI literally have no guts. Yeah, literally. So how can you have a gut feeling if you have no guts? They have a proverbial idea of what a gut is, at least though. And like data to back it up. So they know what a gut is. They know how it works. They know the idea of a gut. But do they know what it's like to have a gut? And if they don't, how much of that matters? Using these chemicals to scary lamprey lakes? What? What company are we talking about if these things happen to every worker? There's so much need to be an AI to solve it. Nothing. It's a hypothetical company, okay? Maybe it's even a cult. But obviously, one thing is for sure, the Deep Blue is not a cult. AI will understand the cult. No! I just said the Deep Blue is not a cult. Hi there, Trix. What's going on? It's been forever since I had Skittles. Oh, it's so good. Wait, Skittles spicy. Let me tell you guys what it is. Oh, okay. You guys need to try it, okay? And tell me what you think about it. Skittles gummies, Fuego. It's called Fuego. It's so good. Trust. Oh my god. Even I'm like, ooh, maybe I should get some. But I know it's gonna be super dangerous if I have it with me because I was already like super addicted and I was like constantly asking my friend for more of it. It's like, please sir, may I have some more of the Skittles? It's so good. Last I had was tropical flavors. Was it also a gummy or is it like the normal form of Skittles? Not a cult, guys. Not a cult. Invest and join the cult. Oh my god, you sound like a crypto bro. I'm not gonna lie, I can't understand how y'all eat Skittles. I can't stand them. The thing is, these Skittle gummies, I don't think they taste like Skittles. They just taste like something else totally, like something totally different. So maybe, boss, you might give it a shot and you might like it like I did. I've also never been one to like Skittles, particularly. But the Skittle gummies were really good. Hi there, Nolan or Aquinius. I've been eating more peanut butter candy lately, like Reese's, or where the heck are you getting these Skittles? I didn't get it, my friends did. I don't know what country, from the US? I think she brought it back. I think her friend was coming back from the US and she was like, yo, can you bring me Skittles? And she came back with Skittles, gave it to her, and then she brought it to our hangout and I was just enamored by those Skittles. At this point, I would just eat actual gummies. Fair. Actually fair. But have you ever had spicy gummies? So they're spicy and sour. I think that why I liked them was because it was more sour than sweet. It was sweet, but it's not like crazy sour. It was a pleasant sour and spicy. Before I follow, do you lock us in a basement? I do not, unfortunately. I'm a very kind and generous god. I don't do such things. Unfortunately, I might keep you here at the Deep Blue and keep on asking you questions until you provide me with a satisfying answer, but I don't lock people in basements. I might get you titlings to debate amongst each others, but like, that's nothing too bad now, is it? Just found a study about death pheromones for getting rid of aphids. I'll cite it. What? How did that even start? Like, how did you even start looking up death pheromones? I have to try if you find them. Yeah, if you find them, give it a try and tell me about it, right? I'm very curious whether you guys will actually like it. Because like I said, I'm not someone who's much for candy, but those Skittles were really good. Having sour mango with chili and lime juice. What the fuck? That sounds so good. E-trumpet super chat, arigato. Thank you for your offering towards the shrine. Yes, not a cult, exactly. Not a cult. Thank you, E-trumpet. Not a cult. Thank you. My blessing to you, E-trumpet, is that perhaps you might find those Skittles over at where you're at. And if you do, give it a try and tell me about it, alright? Skittle gummies, fuego. Spicy, sour, sweet gummies. I stream on Twitch. I stream on both Twitch and YouTube. Only cult at... No, that's not how it works. What fucking... Only a cult at night is crazy. Like, why would it have to be nocturnal? After stream program for tidelings. Only a cult when nobody is looking. Do you think this is Toy Story or something? You made 2 tidelings beat each other at the Deep Blue a while ago just for fun. You kinda go, when did I do that? I'm sorry, I've lived so many long years. I forget these little things, you know, these little details. I have other things to tend to, like thinking about what would happen if one of Poseidon's horses raced in Uma Musume and how cute they'd look. How much your model cost? Why? $5 from the Play Store? What are you trying to get at? If you're rude, I'm gonna have to ban you. I can't be bothered, okay? Are we beating each other to death again? That's crazy. Hey, I never make you guys fight each other to the death. I'm very kind, okay? I'm very generous. To tie back to a previous topic, this is kind of like the old philosophy and academic amphitheaters of ancient Greece. Yes? Just a bit more modern flair! Sure, sure. You can change the branding if you'd like to something that sounds a little bit more profound. Sure, yeah. Aquinius or Nolan, thank you for being 18 months a tideling. Thank you. There's a couple of meets. I mean, obviously no cult chance because we're not a cult, but thank you for 18 months of being a tideling on YouTube side. I appreciate it. Thank you, dude. Who's being rude? Now, just a general warning, alright? How much my model costs? You can look up how much VTuber models usually cost. But my model is usually on the lower side of general VTuber expenses, I believe. No, not 2K plus. I think it was like 1K for my model. Yeah, it was like about 1K-ish. 1K, yeah, I think it was 1K. If not less. It was about that. But yeah, I find it really interesting that people often come in and they ask stuff about like, oh, what's it like being a VTuber? It's like, I want to be a VTuber. I'm like, yeah, but you know, being a VTuber is being a content creator, right? Why do you want to be a VTuber if you don't like doing content? Or if you don't like streaming, then why do you want to be a VTuber? I mean, you don't have to be... First of all, you don't have to be a VTuber to make content or stream. And second of all, if you want to be an anime person, you can also just become an original character or an OC. Get an illustration for yourself and play Dungeons and Dragons, or like, you know, just have an anime profile pic. For some reason, I feel like nowadays a lot of people become VTubers because, oh, that is the prerequisite to having a persona of myself as an anime character. 2.5D model, getting it at less than 1.7. I had a very kind mother, aka Kale. Kale was very kind to work on my model, and like, yeah, looks quite unique in style. But no, it was like 1K-ish, I believe, thanks to Kale. Yeah. Mama Kale! Hi there, Victor! But yeah, it's, VTuber avatars are works of love. And they cost very expensive. So if you want to be like your own anime character, there are definitely cheaper ways of doing it, like I said. And if you don't like doing content, then you don't have to become a VTuber. You can just become a person with an anime profile pic. I don't know how that got lost in the process somehow. Need a geisha outfit? Why a geisha outfit particularly? It's very, did you know ducks at the park are free? Yeah, you know that you think about it, yeah, kind of. Kale should up her prices. I'm pretty sure she has upped her prices now. I'm pretty sure she has. I'm learning how to draw to get my avatar. I gotta start somewhere. Yeah, I mean, there's also like a lot of VTuber, free VTuber models and stuff nowadays. But I think, like, at least from seeing a lot of, there are like so many VTubers nowadays. You just need like an anime profile pic, right? And when you start acting like you're a VTuber, you're technically already a VTuber. So I always say that if you want to be a VTuber, then think of whether you want to make content or want to be a streamer in the first place. Because I think the difference between like having an original character or being an anime character and being a VTuber is literally that, making content. Could just be a PNG character too? Yes, you can. I was thinking of making an OC, but then I got spammed by random artists on Discord randomly, so I gave up on the idea of it to get altogether. I mean, why or how? You can still make an OC and approach an artist to get outfit. As a VTuber, you are already hiding your true brain rot self. Well, not hiding. I wouldn't say being a VTuber is hiding yourself. I think it's just an avenue to express yourself when it comes to content. You know, a lot of people don't become VTubers. Okay, a good chunk of people become VTubers because they want anonymity, and maybe they don't want whatever their content is to be related to whoever they are in real life, like where they're from, how they are, how they look, these sort of visual things. And there are lots of reasons that people become VTubers, but most of the times I don't think it's to hide who they are as a person, as a personality. If anything, it's to shine a certain light on like a certain area of their personality or a certain part of who they are. Like maybe they're actually funny, but they've been very shy since forever. So like they try to experiment with that as a VTuber, for example. That's a cool thing about VTubing, right? I love VTubing. But for some people, whenever I say that, people think I'm sarcastic. I really do love being a VTuber. I mean, if you are a VTuber, becoming a VTuber just for the love of the game, why stop? Who cares if anyone watches if there's intrinsic value to it? Yeah, exactly that too. Like, I feel like some people get very... I mean, it's fair though. I mean, you like seeing numbers go up, but it's the same thing that I said earlier, right? Some people never stop or forget to ask, like, why are you doing it in the first place? Like, why do you want to do it? And then they make a series of decisions that kind of go against the answer to that. It's the same thing, like I said. And it's the same thing to, like, companies, VTubing, to, like, life. That's why you have midlife crises and everything. I mean, if you're becoming a... Oh, wait, I already read that. Filters 2 now, like Peanut Guy. Don't know if he counts as a VTuber though. I would say whoever uses a virtual avatar to do content or stream is practically a VTuber. Oh no, I didn't tell anyone, but I had at least like 13 artists randomly message me out of nowhere. Oh, those are bots though. Blackout for 8 hours. Have a good night to you too. Keith, thanks for dropping by. Hopefully you enjoyed the talks here at the Deep Blue. Thank you. Have a good one. VTuber equals anonymity, the rest is content. I mean, you'll also see some VTubers who don't care as much about anonymity. Like, I think another reason some people become VTubers is because they can't be bothered dressing up for the camera. But then when they want to dress up, they don't mind being IRL, you know? Like, they might have IRL vlogs and everything, so they're kind of like hybrid VTubers. Or I think some company in Japan dubbed it as X-tubers. Which is meaning like, oh, it crosses like both virtual and real content creation and entertainment. So VTubing is not a genre. VTubing is a means to an end. Wait, no, that sounds horrible. Okay, I wouldn't say that. I think it's more like a medium. Yeah. It's a medium, aka, oh yeah, you want to make content. Okay, via what medium? Do you want to do IRL? Do you want to do faceless? Or maybe do you want to consider perhaps VTubing? And, you know, IRL, show your real face. And then your Faceless, obviously, don't show anything. And then the other option is VTubing, which is like, yeah, have a virtual avatar. That's really what it is. It's not a genre. That was my idea. Design my character around an OCA cosplay I have. Yeah, you can do that. Imagine showing an AI VTuber to ancient humans. They'd go fucking crazy. Even modern humans think that VTubers are AI. Isn't that crazy? But then again, I have come to realize that I have some normie friends who would never fucking realize what a VTuber is. I reckon they would think that VTubers are AI too. Man, some of my friends, some people are just hella normie. I mean, it's okay. It's just that it's very interesting how there's just a whole different world out there. You know what I mean? For example, I have come to realize today that the way that I love Final Fantasy X is not equivalent to how hardcore fans love Final Fantasy X. I love Final Fantasy X, but they just love it in a totally different way. And I understand that. And I'm not gonna fuck with that, you know? There's just a whole different world out there. Like, you can both have this, as people, you can have like the same interests as other people, be brought up in the same culture and everything, but sometimes there's just a whole different world out there. Chose VTubing instead of OnlyFans? Come on, Victor. Isn't that kind of rude? What, just because I'm a woman, I need to resort to OnlyFans? VTubing is a method of self-expression. It's a medium. It's a medium of it. My coffee is a bit bitter today. Can you sweeten it up with your wink and smile? I don't know. Do I wanna? No, you go have your bitter coffee, okay? So you can get good and carry on. And then you'll get better at tanking bitter coffee, and then you'll have the grit to go through your day. Some people are not chronically online. That's crazy. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm not chronically online, but then again, a normie would think I'm hella chronically online. There are some AI VTubers out there now these days too. Yeah, like Noira-sama. I think Noira-sama is really hilarious. Come to an understanding of not messing with that. Yep. Wait, what? Messing with what? I don't hate you guys, but maybe you guys just need to get good sometimes, you know? Not being able to drink bitter coffee. Ha! Get good. Skill issue, right? I mean, it's... Yes, definitely a thing kind and generous gods would do, right? Like, compare me to Greek gods. I'm very kind. Denzel, partial online, chronically online, see, Fox. I mean, I guess, like, I am relatively chronically online. Yeah. It's very interesting sometimes to see, like, how different I am to some of my friends. It's very interesting how you can sometimes live in the same neighborhood, you know, live in a similar culture, grow up in, like, similar educational ways, or, like, in, you know, similar schools or whatsoever, but you can just be such different individuals. That's how cool humans are, I think. It's also cool in general in life to kind of just discover how there's always like a whole different world out there. There's only something new to learn about. Chronically schizo on edge. You're chronically online? You touch grass occasionally? Wait, what? I think, are you saying that chronically online people don't touch grass at all? I don't think so. Did you touch grass today? Yes, I did. But also, I think it's more recently that I've like gone out more and been more social in general. Like back then, I definitely had a phase where I was more like hikikomori loner. Life's better now, at least for me. I'm not saying, I think it's just a lifestyle choice. I think I definitely enjoy a lifestyle where I go out more and go to like events and go hang out with friends or try out this new thing. I enjoy that sort of lifestyle more. I think, yeah, having gone through like a phase where I was mostly hikikomori, quote unquote bed rotting and everything. Oh, that was quite a miserable time for me. Yeah. What about you guys though? Like, if you guys, I'm assuming you guys have gone through various phases. If you did various phases of different lifestyles, do you guys reckon you have a certain preference? Because I feel like, when I was during that phase of being hikikomori, I dreamt about like the days where I was more social and more outgoing. And for some reason I was like, oh yeah, those are days that have gone past that I'll never get back again. But it was just honestly a matter of me changing my lifestyle. And for some reason, when I was in that phase, I didn't think that was an option. Crazy shit. It's like you forget. It was a phase of life where I forgot that I had free will, if you may put it that way, you know? And it's recently, these past few weeks, that I've been reminded that, oh, okay, free will is a cool thing, and I'm remembering that I have free will and I can do things, you know? I can just decide to do things. Like if I'm unhappy about a certain thing, I can just decide to do something about that. That's crazy. If I decide that, if I feel like, oh man, it's been boring lately, I can just decide to go to an event that interests me a little bit. I can just go ahead and do that. It's just a touching grass phase. Oneesan will go back to no touching grass again. Oh god. Maybe it's a cycle. Maybe it is like the you know how the moon is just the lunar cycle. Maybe it's something like that. I didn't have much of a choice since I had to go to work and pay bills eventually and just slowly survive with others. Yeah, that's also a thing, right? And somewhere along the way you forget that free will and making choices is something that you can do if you eventually have the means to. It's something I've brought up before as well, how like sometimes people who are just kind of stuck in the cycle of hustling and bustling, even when they have enough funds or technically the time to do something, like when they have, for example, a few days off, people can't forget what to do with days off, just because you forget that free will is actually a thing. Or even when you have the necessary resources to make certain decisions, you just somehow forget. And I do think that is partially due to the fact that our brain is just used to the norm and used to the comfort zone, right? So somehow, at least for me, how I felt it was like there was some weird feeling of anxiety or fear of like, oh, I can't be fucked to it when I wanted to do something new or something that was out of my norm if I've been doing it for so long. It's hard to socialize in my area. By the end I cry my sorrows, but life moves on. I mean, understandable. Thus, I mean, you can mayhaps make it your idea or goal then to check out other areas, right? That's a possibility. I think nowadays we are also given the choice to migrate if we want to, like check out other countries, move to other cities if we'd like. And it's easier than ever with Google Maps and everything. Like staying in a new city is easier than ever. Finding out information about a new place is newer than ever. So that is also a thing, by the way, that's done in research. Not research, but like I think it's something that's discussed in general, how like it's just sometimes you might have a certain predisposition and you grow up with a certain internal personality, and you'll end up like fitting in with certain cultures more than others. So you could be born with a certain predisposition within a certain culture, but as you grow up you realize that it's not that. You might feel that you don't fit well with that culture. Thus, the other option for you is to also move out and find a culture that fits for you. That's why I think some people might live a better life by moving to different cities or countries. I didn't think that was an option at all, actually. Or more like I never thought about it. That like sometimes you can have a cultural misfit with wherever you're born at or wherever you live your whole life. But it makes sense, right? Because I think you as a person, as a personality, it's not only just defined by your environment, but it's also like your collective experience and also like, you know, genetics, what you're born with and everything. And thus it's natural for you to mayhaps grow up and realize that, oh, I think I enjoy other cultures more than my local culture. Remember the phase where I was living in Lucifer's asshole as well. Yeah, man. I hope you get to have a chance to be closer to civilization soon, hey? But I understand if it's for like monetary means and everything, because often it's those kind of jobs that pay more, right? Where you kind of live in bumfuck nowhere. We all forgot that we all have the key to change course. Yeah. Unless it's for work. Me joining in conversations in live streams is my attempt to practice social skills. Good on you. At least you're trying, and that's some progress, right, Jarrison? Hopefully you'll slowly mayhaps get the slow courage to maybe eventually make that first move to make some progress. And be like, hey, maybe I'll talk to the cashier today. Or hey, maybe I'll join this D&D campaign over at that hobby shop that I've been eyeing for a while. These sort of things. I hope you get that chance, hey? I think I had prior experience with depression and stress and workload. Made me realize that self-worth and inner peace is more important than dealing with other people. Yes. But it also could just be that you haven't met the right people. But like, I'm not gonna be like a fucking positive guru where it's like, go out and meet other people and find the right people. You're gonna meet bad people. You're gonna meet good people. It's all RNG, so... it's your decision, I reckon. It's your decision whether you want to tank that and go through that. Who am I to judge people for not wanting to go through that? I mean, I can assume how hard it can be. And I can assume how bad experiences can be with people. So I'm not going to judge. But I will say, though, at least that according to studies and everything, having other humans and socializing with other people is a great way for co-regulation, and there's a reason people say humans are social creatures, just that. Saiyajin, thank you for becoming a new titling over on YouTube side. Guys, can we get a very warm welcome, please, to our newest titling, Saiyajin, on YouTube side? Thank you, Saiyajin, one of us indeed. One of us. Moving and traveling, yeah. I am planning on moving to Canada, part because I want to live in another country and because it gives me access to Burgerland. But yeah, I reckon like if you feel like you don't fit with the current culture of wherever you're at, mayhaps try moving to a different part of your city or like, you know, different part of your country. Free will is a thing. If you have the means to try things out, you know? What's the worst that can happen? If you think about it, right? And plus you're only like 2 years old once. Tomorrow you're already a day older. Might as well. So whoever sneezed in the background, oh, was it 3D son? I didn't even hear him sneeze. Not a cult. You can't say welcome to the cult if we're not a cult, man. After graduating college, accidentally hung out with an actual cult. There's no point in my life I'm having to... Shit, that's something hard to bounce back from, man. Shit, I hope you get to come back from that, though. I believe that humans have adapted through so many times and so many different fucking innovations. And, you know, like from the days of the Trojan horse and the hunter-gatherers to the current day and age of AI. Humans have adapted thus far. And thus, I believe that whatever humans go through, such as your experience, Jarrison, for example, we have the ways to overcome them. Coming back more disappointed than when I left? Yeah, but it's RNG. Well, it's up to you. I'm not going to force you to roll the dice. It's your decision. You're an adult. Like I said, I can only say things from my experience, and I understand when people like don't want to make certain decisions, so I'm not going to judge it. But I like giving perspectives. So who am I to say if you don't want to do certain things? You can't force people into decisions, and you can't make people listen if they don't want to listen, right? After all. Deep down, I want to create a self-replicating nano machine and create my own country. Self-replicating? That says something about your ego. Not that it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think that says something interesting about your ego. And also, when I say like, earlier I said people will only want to listen if they want to listen, right? I don't think it's a good or bad thing. It's just a thing, right? I'm not saying that I am definitely right. Of course not. How can someone be fully right? How can one individual's life represent everyone else's experience, right? But I can only say things from my own experience, and if my experience doesn't sound relevant to yours and you decide not to listen, that's on you. I mean, sorry, not that's on you, but more like that's your decision, and that's okay. It is what it is. You can't force them to come to family gatherings with food. Oh, you can force a lot of people with food. While it's RNG who you meet, you can still make choices that make the odds lean in your favor. Oh my god, you're saying something I've said before. That's very right, Sven. Listen, here, guys. Even though things are RNG, there are definitely things that you can buff yourself to roll a better RNG. Like you can add... what do you call it in D&D? What do clerics give or bards give? That buff for like an additional 1d6? What is it? Nah, no buffs. Specifically clerics or bards. Inspiration, sorry. Yeah, you can get buffs, inspirations, modifiers to kind of... Guidance, thank you. To have a better roll. Such as, for example, if you happen to like games, then maybe consider going to cons where you can meet other gamers, and thus maybe if you meet people of similar hobbies, you can find someone who you vibe with more. Those sort of things. Or like I mentioned, I think the easiest thing is like TCGs or board games. If you like those, then go meet those people, or communities with those people, and maybe you'll mesh with them more. These sort of things. I mean, also like with our current access of internet, it is more easier than ever to find out about these sort of things, right? So if anything, despite it seeming like there's a lot against us when it comes to meeting new people, there's also a lot of things we can utilize to go against the grain and actually find what we want, and also like find the people we haven't been able to meet and all of that. Getting ready for cult, I have a stronger sense of my own morality. So when I lost in trust others, I have at least gained in some form of self-actualization. That's good to hear, man. It's good to hear. I like amateur philosophy. I don't even know. Sure, I always say this, but I don't even know if you can consider whatever I say as philosophy, but I'll take it. I'll take it. It's just yaps. I just categorize everything as yaps. Anyway, guys, we gotta call it because we are done for the day. I don't want to overtime. I've been overtiming since like the start of the week, dude. And the games and everything. First of all, because of Pal World. Second of all, because of Blitzball. So I don't want to overtime again. So we're gonna call it, even though I've technically overtimed for 8 minutes. But thank you everyone for dropping by the Deep Blue. Hold on. Let me properly sync my model. Give me a second. Chito Mateo. Alright, thank you everyone for dropping by the Deep Blue. Hopefully you enjoyed your time at the Deep Blue, the vibes and the talks. Steam the Visionary. Sorry, I'm like ending though. Sorry. Human immortality, good idea? No. It is not. I don't think so. You know how like things seem of higher value when they're limited versus like something that's always there. Same idea. Anyway, thank you everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed your time at the Deep Blue. If you did, wait, first of all, thank you everyone who dropped. Where are the offerings? Oh wait, no, I see it, they're just behind me. My bad. I see a glass of wine over there. Thank you everyone for the offerings on the shrine. I appreciate it. Everything you throw at the Deep Blue comes back to the Deep Blue. It goes back into the Deep Blue in the form of content and all of that. If you guys like the stream, I'd appreciate it if you drop a follow if you're on Twitch, or subscribe if you're on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed the vibes and the talks. And for you guys who are new here, let me introduce myself. I am Noira, the Sea Fox oneesan who serves live talks on the rocks. And every Thursday we do these sort of talks where it's more so like whatever the fuck all of this was. Like I said, the easiest way to describe it is you go to a bar, you get a few drinks, you start talking with a stranger, and then it unexpectedly turns into a deep and thoughtful topic. That's how I explained it. I don't know if there's a word for that, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it and had a good time. We talked about a lot of things. Interesting. I don't even remember what we talked about, but hopefully it at least provided like some sort of inside perspective or inspiration. It doesn't mean you have to agree with me, but I hope it at least provided that. Yeah, if you guys like the stream, I stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 3 times a week, same day, same times, every day. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 or 4 p.m. if you're in the EU, 6 or 9 a.m. if you're in the US, or that's at 10 p.m. GMT plus 8 if you're in Southeast Asia. And also, if you haven't already, come join in our Discord. You can hang out with the other titlings if you like talking about these sort of things. We also do talk about these things on Discord as well. At the balcony, there's a dedicated space for it. And also, if you want to get notified for my content, you can also choose what kind of notifications you want there as well. So come join Discord if you haven't. The Discord link is there. Zach linked it, or you can also go to discord.gg/Noira. Down below you see how there's like a black bar bottom left. That has all my links. discord.gg/Noira. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Now let me find someone to raid. Good convos, guys. Good convos. Who shall we raid today? Let's see. Let us raid into... Thanks for streaming. Nah, thanks you guys for being around here and being such a cool bunch. I always enjoy it. Means a lot, guys. Because I talk about a lot of random shit and you guys are thoroughly just there listening to my ass. So that means a lot. Who do we raid to? Let me see. Let's raid into... We raided Maddie last time. Shall we raid into Gaieti? Oh, I got an ad. Gaieti is currently playing Monster Hunter Wilds. So let's raid into Gaieti. Raid into Gaieti. I never play Monster Hunter ever on stream, so I guess it's good. It's that you guys get to see some bit of Monster Hunter action, right? Anyway, thank you guys, and I hope I get to see you guys again next week. Hey, have a good one, guys. Enjoy your week. All right, tell me all about it on Discord when you come back to the Deep Blue again. All right, bye everyone. Have a good one. Sayonara, and I'll see you on the flip side.